Mic check. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Good to see you. No mutes so far today, and the hat color is tan. I think that's what we would consider this hat color. Tan. Does that work for you guys? Already with some super chats coming in. Thank you guys so much. Benny said, "Let's go." Atlantic released the full signal conversation. MAGA trying to play it down. Never let this go like Hillary's emails. Yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk a lot about that today. It's gonna take up most of the show. There's a lot of chatter about it. Brianna says, Pete Hegseth, you mean whiskey leaks? Which is maybe. I saw somebody question whether or not Pete Hegseth was on the sauce, and I don't know if I added it to the outline, actually. I may have to grab it later. They were asked Ratcliffe if Hegseth was drinking, and Ratcliffe was just like, that's offensive to me. I can't believe you would ask me if this guy who's like a known I don't know if alcoholic is the right word, but known to indulge to the point where he says and does some crazy shit. I don't know if that's an unfair question to ask. Appreciate you guys for joining last night. We were in the wild last night, and looks like we have a standing invitation, much like we used to do with Jeff. We have now a standing invitation from Admir on Tuesday nights to do some In the Wild debates. I enjoyed it. I thought they were great last night. It's always good to get the crypto folks upset. If you want to go back and watch that debate, it's available on YouTube. I think it was I think last night was probably one of the best debate nights we had in terms of like we had actual conversations. It wasn't just insane. It was like almost no insane. A couple of highlights you may want to know is nobody who invests in crypto seems to know what it does. We had a rich guy come on, if you guys know Tony, and kind of admit that crypto's just a way for rich people to extract more money, and that it's extremely manipulatable. And we also had someone say that poor people shouldn't have kids. So a little bit of everything last night. It was a good time. Swish says, "Let's hear the transcript." Hashtag whiskey leaks. I hadn't heard whiskey leaks until you guys started saying it this morning. That is beautiful. I bet Pete Hegseth doesn't like that. I saw today Pete Hegseth posted pictures of him like doing push-ups, and my first thought was, do the people that he visited appreciate that he's working out with them? Almost certainly. Are they? Did former SecDefs work out with them? Not that I'm aware of. It could have happened. It doesn't change the fact that he's a fucking idiot. And so while Pete Hegseth might be in shape, and he might be our Secretary of Defense that is most capable on the front lines of a battlefield, he's probably our least capable on the front lines of words and keeping classified information classified, and also telling the truth. He's one of the worst. He's dog shit at his job. I was thinking about this morning because there's a lot of people calling for Pete Hegseth to be removed. And I get that. But the problem is like, who's Trump going to replace him with? It's not like Trump's going to be like, oh, man, that was a mistake. Let me put somebody that's actually qualified in as Secretary of Defense. It'll just be like Steve Bannon or some shit. Like, I've got a Jack Posobiec clip later in the show. Like, maybe it would be Jack Posobiec. The problem is Pete Hegseth was like his number one choice. And I'm not sure I trust the other choices from Donald Trump. I don't know if Pete Hegseth stepping down is actually the best option. It's one of those situations. I have no idea what we do about this. Maybe, hopefully you guys have better ideas than I do. Thank you, Jen, for updating there. Let's jump right into it. I just thought this came across my timeline, so I thought that it was applicable after the conversation we had tonight. According to CNN, GameStop is closing a significant number of stores and will invest heavily in Bitcoin. These ads are getting out of control, CNN. You got to get your shit together. This is crazy. And by the way, this is Tiger Woods golf brand. I would never buy a Tiger Woods golf brand shirt. This shirt is like a shirt that you could buy directly from China for $3. And how much? You guys guessed. If you don't like, how much do you think this polo shirt with Tiger Woods' Sunday Red logo cost? Now I'm going to get more of these ads, but we're going to do it anyways while we're here. It's just a polo shirt. $115. $115 for this shirt. That's crazy. I would never buy that shirt. It's not even, this shirt doesn't even look that good. $115 just so that you can look like Tiger Woods, who, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, Tiger Woods is dating Don Jr.'s ex-wife. And so that's fun. That's just a fun thing. You know, Don Jr. hates that. You know, he feels like, God damn it. You never want your ex to like date somebody way better than you after. That's tough to swallow. And is for all the problems Tiger Woods had, he's better at virtually everything than Don Jr. Anyways, back to this. GameStop closed about a quarter of its locations within the past year, shuttering 1,000 stores across the world. The company said it's not close to done, and as the struggling company closes stores, it will invest cash in cryptocurrencies. I can only imagine this is like a nod to all those people who propped up the GameStop stock. What did you even call that? I forget what it's called. They had the movie about it. I can only imagine that. Bad decision. Look, crypto is going to crash. It's going to. When the economy crashes, crypto will crash. And when supercomputers can break the blockchain, crypto is toast. We had two people yesterday. I asked. One lady was like, yeah, I've worked in the industry. Let me come up and explain to you the blockchain. I was like, can the blockchain be hacked? She's like, no. Why not? Well, it just can't. It just can't. It absolutely can. And it will. It's been proven that it will be hacked and that your crypto will be less safe than hiding a few dollars under your mattress. That's kind of the world that we live in. We're going to have to change what we do monetarily. It's already problematic that people can access bank accounts, credit cards. They have those what do they call them? Ghost credit cards, where somebody can just make a copy of your credit card number. I think they're called ghost credit cards. Anyways, that's what's going on with GameStop. The pivot to Bitcoin, they said, is really a defense against irrelevance. An odd thing is it's basically saying the strategy isn't retail, but to act as some kind of cryptocurrency investment vehicle. I understand the idea. Like GameStop maybe should just go away. I don't know. I do miss retail, and maybe that's like the millennial in me. I think the place I miss more than anything is Blockbuster. I loved going to Blockbuster, walking through the aisles, picking out a video, being let down that my favorite movie wasn't available, renting Three Ninjas Strike Back for the 85th time in a row, renting a video game, and then deciding whether or not you were going to return that video game, because they charge you $40 if you don't return it, but it was like $45 if you bought it at the store, so you're like, I saved $5. I miss it. I understand why it closed, but I do miss it. I think I told that story before. When I first moved to Arizona, across the street was like one of the last remaining Blockbusters. It was like $25 a month, and you could take like 2 movies and a video game at a time. So you always had new movies. I don't even have a DVD player or Blu-ray player anymore. I just missed that time. It was better. You guys remember? Yeah, Rocky loves Emily. I didn't have to rent Newsies because I own Newsies. I'll tell you a little story. My best friend in high school, his name's Zach. He doesn't listen to this much anymore, but when I'm talking about my Republican friends and the things they say sometimes, that would be my friend Zach. He's one of them, and he's not really Republican. He didn't give a shit about politics. But man, I can't tell you the amount of times we watched Grease and Newsies and Hoosiers. Like every time there was downtime, we didn't have anything to do. They had a hot tub like up on their patio, and we'd sit in the hot tub and we would watch like Grease or Newsies or Hoosiers. I can quote all of those movies word for word. I don't know why I had such a draw towards musicals. I still do. I love musicals. It was a really confusing time in my life though, because I was supposed to be like an athlete, and I was supposed to like watching. I don't know what movies even came out at that. Like all the dumb comedies, American Pie 2, all the scary movies. Those were out. Not me. I'm out there with my best buddy watching Newsies in a hot tub. And there were a lot of comments about whether or not we were in a relationship. there was a lot of speculation there. We weren't. 2 men watching Newsies in a hot tub. Yeah, say what you want. 2 men. It was very intimate. Goose said, you know what won't crash? The Pokemon card market. How is the Pokemon card market going? I haven't kept up. I used to collect sports cards. I guess I still technically collect sports cards, but I haven't kept up with any of that. Let's check here too. I think I got those. All right, got them. Sounds like a Grindr date night, a good Grindr date night. Tell me, for any of our friends in the audience that are gay, that's a great Grindr date night, isn't it? Somebody hits you up on Grindr, they're like, "Hey, you want to hang out? Let's not go out. Let's hang out in the hot tub. We'll watch Newsies, or we'll watch Grease, or we'll watch Hoosiers." Norman Dell, greatest coach of all time, the best to ever do it. I will say this too. So I grew up in Utah. They had this thing called feature films for families. And basically, they illegally took movies and edited out anything that was like any vulgarity, any nudity, any cursing at all. So for the first I don't know, 5 or 6 years of me knowing that the movie Hoosiers existed, I didn't know that it cursed in there. There's a couple lines like he yells at a referee, "Hey, you got pigeon shit in your eye?" But my version said, "You got pigeon pookie in your eye," which pookie I've never heard. There was another line like the sun don't shine on the same dog's ass every day. That was cut out. So I had an edited version of Hoosiers, which curses exactly 2 times. And I didn't realize when the DVD came out and I got the DVD, I was like, oh, damn, I felt like a badass. I was like, yeah, that's right. Pigeon shit. Your friend worked at feature films for families. That place is terrible. It was like the precursor to, then there was Clean Flicks that came after. Utah's a weird place, man. It was a very weird place. All right, breaking news from CNN, new polling coming out from CNN showing that Americans are very concerned about the economy, and that spells bad news for Republicans.
Let me just tell you, the economy and inflation is the whole kit and caboodle. As James Carville once said, it's the economy, stupid, but since I'm standing here with John Berman, it's the economy, smarty pants. Top issue facing America. Look at this. Number one, inflation in the economy at 43%. There ain't anything close to this, my friends. Political division, which comes in at number two, is 14%. That's a nearly 30-point gap. It's the only one that's over 15%. Donald Trump's presidency will ride or die on his ability to handle the inflation problem in this country and the economy.
So ride or die.
Nobody has ever been more amped about polling. What's this guy's name again? CNN. He's my favorite. Nobody else should be allowed to talk about polling but him. He's the only guy you should ever take to do polling content.
How do Americans think he's doing on it?
Yeah. If you saw the cover page, I said, will the economy be Trump's Waterloo, to quote ABBA? Trump's net approval rating on the economy. Look at this. January of 2025, it was at plus 6 points. Look at where it's fallen to at this point, minus 14 points.
Uh-oh.
That's not just the lowest of this term for Donald Trump. It's the lowest ever.
And let's be clear about what this is. Like, this is basically speculation. Like, if you look at our stock market, it's definitely fallen. But for most people, that doesn't affect them. So for most people, they're not seeing the effects. But every economist in the world is saying this guy's economic policies don't make any sense. They're just going to hurt poor people. That's all they're going to do. They're going to benefit the rich and they're going to hurt poor people. And the problem is you don't even have like right-wing think tanks coming out and being like, this is a good plan. So when people go to find news on Donald Trump's economic policies, when they try to be educated on Trump's economic policies by anybody with any sense at all, they're all saying the same thing. This is bad. This is bad for the American economy. This is bad for the middle class. This is bad for poor folks. This is bad for, and in fact, frankly, it's bad for rich people in the end, right? Initially, it's not, but eventually, it's bad. Where's my $2 eggs? What are egg prices? I know they were coming down. I haven't bought eggs for a couple weeks. I don't know where they're at. But gas prices should be coming down. They're always lower this time of year. You're going to start seeing when school ends, gas prices will go back up. It's just how cyclically it goes every year. But we're never going to see the prices we saw that Trump bragged about. Like, Trump's like, I had gas below $2. Yeah, your whole country was shut down. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe the plan is to shut down the country so that you can brag about gas prices. El Dizzle says, missing the RTP family. Hello, everyone. Love to hear about Jay's sensitive side. Hey, Bree. Was I sensitive? I don't mind being sensitive.
For Donald Trump, when it comes to his net approval rating, it has fallen faster than...
You, listen, who's CNN fake news? Guys, can you... To my Republican friend, can we be friends today, please? Can we do that? I had a great night with Republicans last night debating. Can we be friends, please, today? I'm going to teach you something about how polling works. You see, under Trump here, you may not be able to see it super well. Underneath Trump, there's a thing that says source, and then it says Ipsos. This isn't CNN making shit up. This is CNN reporting on polling data. I understand that you guys don't like left-wing media. This is an opinion. You should, if anytime it's a talk show, they're talking about opinion, go ahead and say, I don't trust CNN's opinion. That's fine. But we've got to be able to be, Republicans and Democrats have to be able to be people who ignore this shit in the corner, this CNN logo in the corner, and pay attention to the data. And the data says that, according to Ipsos, that Trump's approval rating when it comes to the economy is underwater. And it's underwater for a reason. It's because nobody can make sense of what he's doing. And the only people who think he's doing a good job are those that are saying, oh, it's only been 2 months. Just wait. This will be great. It's exactly like the conversation we had yesterday about crypto. You guys want us to believe your predictions. We're just living in reality now. 6 months from now, let's say this rating completely flips and Trump's at +6 again. We'll say, yeah, well, looks like Americans are approving of what Donald Trump is doing. I covered his polling when he first stepped in office. He had good approval. His number one issue was the economy, and now it's not. Now he's underwater. You guys got to grapple with that. You got to figure out what you're going to do about that. But could we stop doing like there's CNN? I don't trust CNN. It's not CNN. It's Ipsos. And they post polling all the time that is cited by Donald Trump. Stop just denying things because you don't like the information that is given to you. It just is what it is. This is what the people who responded said. Take it up with them.
His overall approval rating, at this point back in his first term, he was on the plus side of the ledger in double digits, plus 12 points. It has just fallen completely down. It has fallen through the floor, minus 14 points.
I bet when they were plus 12 in 2017 with Ipsos polling, I bet you didn't have a single Republican being like, oh, CNN's fake news, Ipsos is fake polling. I bet everybody was sharing it. In fact, let's see if we can find it. This is a fun little game. I'm going to go to Twitter. I'm going to search 2017 Ipsos economy approval rating. Let's see. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah. Yeah, look, this is actually a Democrat complaining about Ipsos polling. This is what you look like. They're like, he inherited this economy. This is literally them hope change. This is literally them complaining about it. So there you go. It did find it. There's always a video. There's always a graphic.
This is a massive, huge, to use Donald Trump terminology, problem for his presidency.
All right, so they don't think he's doing well on it. Do voters at least think he's trying?
Yeah, this is, I think, the other big problem. They think Donald Trump's priorities are in other places. I mean, look at this. Think Trump is prioritizing these a lot. We talk about the economy. We talk 36% on the economy. We talk about inflation. It's below 30% who say that they think he is prioritizing inflation on a list of 8 that CBS News gave to voters, to Americans.
Guess the problem. Like, nobody's saying this is his fault. They're saying this is confidence. This polling is about confidence. People are saying they do not have confidence that the things that he's proposing will fix inflation and will turn the economy around. Nobody's saying that his first time around, he inherited a booming economy. This time around, he inherited some good numbers, but not a booming economy. Like, unemployment was low, stock market was high, but the reality for most Americans, and the reason that he won, is because he was able to get messaging out that said, like, don't believe these numbers. Like, the Biden administration is going to come out here and they're going to tell you how great their economy is because inflation is down and unemployment is down and the stock market's at all-time highs. But you heard him say it all the time. But the truth is, the reality is the American people aren't feeling that. That's how he won. And now the script is being flipped on you. The reality is the American people aren't feeling it because they're still struggling to make ends meet. So these economic indicators that you guys dismissed in November, now you're playing the opposite side. We got to stop getting played like this. Don't let yourself get played like this, Republicans. Don't let it happen. You can't be on the opposite side of this in November and then automatically switch over here. That's a little embarrassing. Don't do it. If you care about actually doing good things for this country, then we've got to be honest about this. If you're just like a Trump simp and you're just here to troll on, do your thing. But if any of you are like serious about turning this around and making our country a better place for everybody, this stuff's important.
Where the economy and inflation rank 6th and 7th on an issue list of 8. They simply put, do not believe his mind is in the right place. He is not prioritizing the problem that they think is greatest right now to the American people. And that is why I said at the beginning, I could say that this might end up being Donald Trump's Waterloo because he's failing on the issue that's most important to Americans.
The other problem that Trump has is that he's failing on this issue that's most important, but he's not winning on any other issues. Like, the stuff that he talks about is mostly just like grievances. Like, everything's unfair. Everybody's against me. That's all he does every single day. You'll see here, like, whoops, I don't even know what I clicked on. You see here, like, now here's what he's going, and here's what he's saying now. Here's the type of shit this administration's putting out now. This is from the Greg Kelly report. Here's what Trump is proposing for January 6th protesters. Like, we're talking about January 6th protesters at this point. A significant majority of the country did not believe that they should have been pardoned. That's already unpopular. And on top of his already unpopular pardons, he's saying this. Now, this is a distraction, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I don't think Trump's going to follow through on this. I think he's saying this because he wants people to talk about it in the media, which I'm going to do because it's my job. I don't think he's actually going to follow through on this, but it shows his disconnect with the messaging that normal Americans think about. Like the diehard Trumpers, they love this shit. This is their bread and butter. But for everyday Americans, this is not what they want to hear.
I said I was going to, and I did.
Is there any talk of, because they lost opportunity, they lost income, any kind of compensation fund? Or
Well, there's
like
talk about that. We have a lot of people talk about it. A lot of the people that are in government now talk about it because a lot of the people in government really like that group of people. They were patriots as far as I was concerned. I talk about them a lot. They were treated very unfairly. You know, the thing they show is they show a group of 1,000, whatever it may have been, 1,500 people down. What they don't show, you never see the crowd that day. It was the biggest crowd I've ever spoken before. It went all the way to the...
Yeah, we've heard you say that like a billion times. Everybody talked about it. Everybody talked about the crowd size. In fact, when this was all going down, the media was talking about the actual size of the crowd, and one of the criticisms from right wingers is like, "Yeah, not everybody went to the Capitol, though. They're acting like everybody that went to the Capitol were the same people at the rally." I can't turn this up any. This is Greg Kelly's volume. Sorry about that.
The Washington Monument. It was so wide, you virtually couldn't see anything else but people. They never show that. Whether it was 1 million people or less than 1 million, I don't know what it was. But, you know, I see Bernie Sanders has a few people out there. They say, oh, the crowd is so big. They don't talk about the crowds. But a group of people went down there peacefully and patriotically. Remember that.
I don't remember who it was. Somebody said, like, it's important for Democrats to remember that crowd size doesn't equate to votes. I think that's a really good thing to remember. Bernie and AOC crowds were very big, but those are people that were probably going to vote for Bernie or AOC anyways. I went to the Kamala Harris rally here in Phoenix. It was massive. The energy was wild. You couldn't leave that without thinking that she was going to win in a landslide. And honestly, like, that's how I felt leaving. And that stuck with me all the way through the election. I was convinced. I'll show you guys sometimes a text between one of my buddies, who's one of my few liberal friends that lives in California, messaging me the day of the election, and just like, dude, this is bad. This is bad. I'm like, no, this is fine. This is all chalk. It's all playing out. And then it didn't. And I was like, oh yeah, I fell for it. I fell for that exact same thing. Crowd size doesn't always mean something. Crowd size kind of measures like the loyalty that you have amongst your base. Brian says, I agree with you on not feeling the change. Biden's pardons were worse. FBI agents started the riot paid for by Dems. Brian, I appreciate you, for the super chat. Thank you very much. You're also welcome to come up. We'll talk about any of that. Anybody who disagrees with the things I say, you're welcome to come up all you have to do is message Jen, JENNDUBB1 on Discord, and she'll get you in here. We can get you taken care of. But thank you for that. So yeah, Trump says he's going to compensate these J6ers. I think it's bullshit. I don't think he's going to actually do it. I wanted to show you guys this too, though. Before we go, I didn't really know how to put this into the show, but this is what are these things called? Like a bubble chart. I can't remember what they're called. What's this chart called? Somebody remind me what it's called. Anyways, this shows, while we're looking for that, the top 25 political and news accounts on X by 30-day post views. So remember when Elon was like, it's too liberal, we're going to make it even, it's going to be free speech. This is the view count of people on Twitter. These are individual accounts on Twitter. The blue represent the Democrats or left-leaning. Red represents right-leaning. This big-ass one in the middle, this is Elon. Elon gets more views than like everybody else combined, and most people don't think Elon's that intriguing. He forces views onto himself. Some of these other big accounts, the next biggest one is Libs of TikTok. Then you have Cat Turd, Colin Rugg, Benny Johnson, Charlie Kirk, Defiant L's, which a lot of people have said is an Elon account, and Wokeness which is one of Elon's backup accounts. White House is a big one. On our side, we have ASIN, which is just a content aggregator. I use his stuff all the time. He just posts clips. I don't even know what this other one was, and I didn't know what this one was either. I didn't know either of these other two accounts. I have no idea who they are. But it goes to show, like, this is not free speech. This is suppression. This is absolute suppression. And you can go look at left-leaning content creators, and you can look at their engagement before Elon took over and after he took over, and it's very apparent that Elon throttles anything that he doesn't agree with. Now, I use Twitter all the time until Blue Sky catches up with videos, which they're getting there. They can do 3-minute videos now. Until that's the case, I'll have to use Twitter. But I just wanted to show you guys this graph because it's not even like this isn't free speech. Elon Musk is not a free speech absolutist. You can't go from having, like, I don't even know if he would have been he wouldn't have been on this chart, and now he is the chart. Like, he takes up literally the entire chart because he forces his views on everybody. Anything he likes, they push out. Anything he doesn't like, they suppress. It's pretty wild. That was Mark Cuban that posted that, by the way, who maybe he's the one that's buying TikTok. It's been real quiet on that end. Here's an executive order signed by Trump. Again, just showing that he's completely disconnected from the American people. He has no idea what will benefit the American. Well, maybe he does know what will benefit the American people, but he doesn't fucking care. Here's an executive order that he signed yesterday.
Taken action against a number of law firms that have participated either in the weaponization of government, the weaponization of the legal system for political ends, or have otherwise engaged in illegal or inappropriate activities. The law firm of Jenner and Block is one of these law firms. This is a law firm that, as you know, employed Andrew Weissman after he came off of the Mueller investigation. It's a law firm that's engaged in invidious racially and sexually discriminatory practices. It's also a law firm that has participated in the weaponization of the legal system against American principles and values. And we believe that the measures in this executive order will help correct that.
We're literally signing executive orders now to admonish a law firm for hiring somebody that worked on the Mueller investigation. That's what that executive order is. Andrew Weissman worked on the Mueller investigation, which got, I always forget the number, it's 34 or it's 37 indictments, including multiple guilty verdicts, or not verdicts, guilty pleas from members of Trump's team who admitted that they were working with Russia. We're still calling it a hoax for some reason, but now they're targeting attorneys that just were doing their job. This is so out of touch with what the American people want. I hope they keep doing it. I really hope they do. Asa Sophia, thank you for the donation via PayPal. Said, hey, chipping in Dollar Train. Have you gotten the hats yet? No, actually. Oh, wait. I need to check. That's a good reminder. I did something weird. When I get stuff from my P.O. box, I have to say, like, tell them to ship it. And I had them condense it into multiple packages with something I had already delivered. That's a good reminder. It's still there. I'm so sorry. I'll take care of that today. Brian says, what's your view on Musk and DOGE? I'm for it. DOGE it's doing nothing. Elon Musk is a clown. He has no clue what he's doing. He's not doing an audit. I think he's just trying to get access to the government to enrich himself. Did I miss anyone? So that's, again, if you want to come up, I think that's what you're asking. You can get a hold of Jen. You can even just ask for Jen's username in the chat, and people will put it up there for you. Let me adjust this. There we go. All right, moving on. Then we'll get there. I'm gonna skip this for now. I may come back to it. Marjorie Taylor Greene is back on her bullshit, saying that because AOC doesn't have children, that she isn't like a real American. She doesn't know what it's like to be a real American. Reminds me of our debate last night when whoever that was I was debating said that poor people shouldn't have children. This here is from Florida. They've had a couple of committee meetings discussing new bills. I haven't heard of Carlos G. Smith before. But Carlos Smith is on our outline a couple times today for effectively communicating to Republicans that what they're doing is silencing speech. And he's doing a great job. He's getting Republicans in Florida to side with him on multiple bills that Republicans thought were going to get passed through, and they're not even making out of committee because Carlos Smith is doing such a good job articulating the response to these bills. Here's an example where Republicans in Florida are back at their bullshit, trying to ban books because education is terrifying to them.
I thought we were done.
Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't have kids. Is that real? She really doesn't? Why the fuck is she? Why is she going after AOC for not having kids? That's bizarre. I didn't know she didn't have kids.
I want this. I thought we were done with the culture wars. I thought we were done with all of the excessive book banning. But here we are back in 2025 session again. And we are
And again, sorry for the low audio. It's the way it is.
Talking about book banning and censorship again. I'm not sure how this helps anyone. I'm not sure how this is going to help us deal with rising costs on all Floridians. I can think of how it can hurt someone, because indoctrination can be very hurtful. I'm talking about indoctrination into ignorance, which is what censorship brings. Censorship brings indoctrination into ignorance. And ignorance does not always protect innocence. As it relates to the book banning and the ability of school districts to now just dump the Miller test and not use that in consideration on whether they're going to remove books, I think that's a recipe for even more censorship and even more books being pulled, even more bad faith objections. We actually were moving in the right direction, because there was an acknowledgement by this administration in this state that the book banning went too far, that they were going to start limiting those bad faith objections, especially from those individuals that don't even have kids in the schools, that were contributing to this problem of excessive book banning. But this bill is not going in the right direction.
Some of the stuff that was going to be banned in this bill included Shakespeare, Milton, and Hemingway. Again, this is just Moms for Liberty, who have an outsized influence in Florida, trying to force everybody to only learn like Christian doctrine as education. Again, you're seeing a shift. There's a shift. 3 years ago, during the Biden administration, there would be 100% support for these types of book bans. But Americans have realized like that was all a stunt. A lot of the shit that they claimed were in these books wasn't in the books. And there were a lot of books that wound up getting banned that even good Christian parents were like, hey, I like that book. I don't see anything wrong with that book. It's, again, a misunderstanding of where the American public is at and the far right overreaching. You're seeing it over and over again that these bills aren't being passed anymore. I did look it up while we were going. It appears Marjorie Taylor Greene has 3 children. However, somebody said her children likely would be roaches. I cannot confirm or deny whether or not her children are at least half roach. So there are 3 children, but we're not sure 100% on their species there. Here is another bill that they tried to pass through in Florida. Here's Carlos Smith again. This time they're trying to Randy Fine is presenting Senate Bill 814 to allow guns on college campuses. That's the shit we're doing in Florida. You know what we need to do, Floridians? You know what would solve all our problems? If we had more people bring guns to school, that'll do it.
I think it's great that this is one of your last bills that you're presenting here. First of all, it's poorly written. It's a dangerous combination to take what is already a high-stress environment for young people on college campuses, where they're facing academic pressures, where there's mental health struggles, where there's social conflicts, where there's rampant alcohol and drug use and abuse and sexual assault, and add firearms to the equation here. We know that studies show that access to firearms actually correlates to higher suicide rates, unfortunately, which will put young people further at risk. It makes law enforcement's response to school shootings even more complicated. And it's been consistently opposed by our university presidents across the state of Florida, which is why this legislation has effectively gone nowhere.
Before they get to the vote, and before he finishes this, I just want you to know the committee they're in is a majority. I think it is a 5-2 majority for Republicans in this committee. It might be 4-3, but I think it's 5-2.
For so long, because our university presidents have agreed and understood that this is not what is going to keep our campus communities safe. And there's no clear evidence that campus carry actually makes them more safe. And so, folks, I'm definitely in opposition to the bill today. And also, I just want to point out the House version of this bill was withdrawn. It's actually not going anywhere, and there's no legislation in the Florida House. This is a publicity stunt, and I'm not going to cooperate with this bill, and I'm not going to vote for it. Thank you.
Tori, please call the roll.
You'll see the vote here now.
14.
Senator Bernard? No. Senator Bradley? Senator Garcia? No. Senator Gruters?
Yes.
Senator Pizzo? No. Senator Simon? Senator Yarborough?
Yes.
Vice Chair Smith?
No.
Chair Martin?
Yes.
That's a 4-3 vote, and it is shot down. So I'm pretty sure it's a 5-2. I'm pretty sure that committee is 5-2, majority Republican. Again, might be 4-3, but you had Republicans crossing the aisle to say, no, this is fucking ridiculous. Of course, we're not going to do this. This is actually just a wild story. I don't really know how to link this in. I don't even know how it got on my timeline. But once again, it's a consistent reminder that the biggest threat, if you are a woman or a child, the biggest threat to you, statistically, outside of your own family, is your Christian pastor. And here's more evidence of a Christian pastor being an absolute psychopath.
Terrifying home invasion. A man with a flashlight enters a single mom's house and ends up caught on her security camera. And when she looked at the video, she knew who it was right away. Here's why.
It's terrifying. A man caught on security tape breaking into a home. What made this even more shocking is the identity of the intruder. It was 43-year-old Marie Columna's pastor. There he was in her kitchen, clearly identifiable.
You would never.
When he gets caught, he's like, oh, fuck. Listen, this is really, really transparent. And this is why I have a very hard time with religion. I have been manipulated by religious leaders. I have friends who have been manipulated by religious leaders. I've told the story before, but I have friends who wound up being victims of, what's that idiot's name? Tim Ballard. The guy that was saving all the children, but really he was just like using his position of power and influence to get married ladies to sleep with him. This type of stuff, like this reliance on a man who you think is a hero, this happens all the time. So this story to me, just like it's everybody who's grown up in a Christian church, everybody knows there's like the creep that's in the Christian church. Everybody has one, whether it's the pastor or just some dude. And we chalk it up to like Christians, just because they're Christian doesn't mean they're perfect, but they get to hide behind like their Christianity. So it gives people a safe place, or it allows these predators to get closer to them because they're like, oh, they're a Christian just like me. So it's okay if I allow them to be close. And that's what happened here. This lady just allowed this pastor to get close, and then he just turned into a creep.
I think a pastor would do anything bad to anyone.
When you follow God's vision.
And it's not just...
No, not only the Christian religion. I hate all religions equally. As far as I think religion, I don't think we should legislate religion to be banished, but I think all religions should not exist. I don't think that they do any good. I think that the world would be a better place without all religions. I don't care which religion you're talking about. I don't like any of them. But in America, Christianity is the major religion, and if it was a different religion, let's say that this was Islam, and you had leaders of Islam who were abusing women and children, I would also speak out against Islam. I regularly speak out against Islam. I don't like any religion, period. So thank you for asking that question, whoever it was. But yeah, I hold this for all religions.
Any church. 49-year-old Sergio Guardia was a pastor at a mega church, the 24,000-member Thomas Road Baptist Church in Lynchburg, Virginia. Maria and her husband were very close with the pastor and his wife, as seen in this photo.
Does Buddhism count as a religion? I don't know if Buddhism counts as a religion. I don't know enough about Buddhism to make a judgment. I've never heard anything that Buddhists did that were harmful. I don't know the history of Buddhism, though, so I could be missing on that. So right now I'll say I'm open on Buddhism.
What was Pastor Guardia like?
Very charismatic, extremely nice.
But after she divorced her husband, Marie says the pastor's behavior became increasingly odd.
He started just showing up to my house. My kids wouldn't be home. It'd be in the middle of the day. And he would just show up and bring me groceries. He did that a handful of times. Sometimes I would get home and he'd be right on my porch. So I couldn't even avoid him.
But nothing prepared her for this. Surveillance video, which was taken while she was away for the weekend with her 2 kids.
I just couldn't process that it was Sergio.
Lo and behold, he came back the next day.
Yeah, the question is, what would the pastor have done if they're not caught? They're going to talk about that a little bit here.
I was watching the live feed of him entering my daughter's bedroom.
She called the cops, and you can see them with guns drawn. They even use a police dog in their search, but the pastor had already fled. Guardia was charged with burglary and stalking.
Guardia has been found guilty.
Melanie said, I agree with you 100%. All the world wars in the world practically have been started over religion, and every Christian I've met was a giant hypocrite, and the pastors were large hypocrites. Look, there's some of our friends here are Christian, and I don't want to disparage them at all. It just, when you allow yourself to be in a religion, and you allow yourself to adhere to a doctrine, and you allow yourself to give some of your autonomy away to a pastor or a priest or a bishop, whatever it might be, yeah, like you wind up with people who abuse that power. I never want to give somebody that power, especially as a father. I never want somebody to be viewed as an authority figure that has power that my daughter can't say no to. I don't like that. It causes a lot of problems. So I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah, sorry about the Facebook auto mods. My bad on that. Well, not my bad. It's I thought Zuckerberg wasn't doing that anymore. I thought he was giving up on moderating on Facebook. Here is Dave LaRock. He's running for governor in Virginia, and listen to what he has to say here. He's on the Alexandra Levine Live, American Bridge First Century. I assume it's just like a far right thing. What he's talking about, and this is the thing that like white Christian nationalists love to do. They love to say things like, well, the real problem with the history of our country, the real problem with discussing race is that we don't just tell people to get over it and get past it. So he references a movie that I haven't seen. Some of you, I'm interested, anybody who's seen this movie, when they reference it, I'll pause it. I want you to know, I want you to tell me if what he says about the storyline in the movie is true. But I promise you're not ready for the end. I promise you are not ready for his conclusion at the end.
One of my favorite movies, and I tell you, it moves me emotionally, is a movie called Freedom Writers. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I have seen that movie, yes.
It's a spectacular movie, isn't it? And it's this inner city, these kids that think life has been terrible, and it justifies them.
It's talking about this movie?
Being violent toward each other, and the teacher, Hilary Swank, I think, introduces them to a Holocaust survivor, and I think it's based on a true story.
It is.
And they just appreciate that's the
All right, is that correct? Is that a correct has anybody seen this movie? Is that a correct way to describe the plot of this movie? I'm not sure. Bro, Zach showed up to say cry liberals cry after we showed a creepy pastor, and now this. I don't know if that was the right time for your cry liberals cry comment, Zach. It is? Okay, great. Here we go. Now here's the end of it.
What these people have been put through, which makes their own struggles, I think, seem like something that they can overcome. So again, the central theme of it is, well, a couple different things going on, but it uses I think it was Anne Frank that they actually brought in to tell her story, and it really changed these people's lives. So sort of a little bit of an example from Hollywood of what should be going on a larger scale, I think, in colleges and universities.
Yeah. I don't think he knows how the Anne Frank story ended. I don't think that Hilary Swank brought Anne Frank in to tell her story of her survival of the Holocaust, mostly because Anne Frank did not survive the Holocaust. That's a person running for governor. It's Virginia. Shout out Virginia. Well done, all of you. Good job, Virginia. Yeah, he did say Anne Frank. He absolutely. You want to hear it again? Let's hear it again.
A couple different things going on, but it uses I think it was Anne Frank that they actually brought in to tell her story, and
they brought her in. They brought Anne Frank into those students in Los Angeles. I think it was in Los Angeles. Anne Frank came in and told them a story about how she was able to overcome adversity, and so they can too.
It really changed these people's lives.
It's his favorite movie, he said. He said it's one of his favorite movies. I think he's full of shit. I don't think he understands that movie. Look, I think it's great messaging. One of the big disconnects between the right and the left, where like I do think we argue past each other a lot, is you'll often hear from, in fact, there's a clip that we put out the other day. You'll often hear from right-wingers like that if we went to impoverished communities and we just let them know that like there is hope, like they can overcome this, and you could show them examples of people who grew up in poverty, who then worked their way out of poverty, and now they're in a better place. That's true. Like that's good messaging. That's a good thing to tell your students. That's a good thing to tell your children. It's not the role of government. The government's job is not to tell you to just be tougher. It's not to dictate like how you should feel. The government's job is to remove impediments that make your life more difficult, and specifically impediments that only make some people's life more difficult. The government's job is to make things more equitable. That's their only job, and obviously within reason. But you want everybody to start as much as you possibly can from a level playing field. That's the role of the government. That's what they're supposed to do. Their job is not to teach your kids to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. That's your job. If you come from a poor community and you're raising children, I highly recommend you tell your children every single day that they can accomplish anything. And just because you're poor and the place that you live in a poor community, that they can't, if they want to leave that community and provide a better life for their future family, that's a great message for your children. I think I support that 100%. It's not the role of the government. And that's what I can't stand about these type of people. What was his name? David LaRock. Like, dude, that's not your role. Your role is to make it so that you don't have this much inequity. That's your role. Your job is to take care of the citizens of Virginia. If you get elected, which you may not, your job is to take care of those citizens and make sure that everybody in Virginia has a fighting chance to improve their situation. That's it. That's your whole job. But Republicans, because they've been told that like you can't tax the rich, the excuse is, oh, well, it's a cultural problem. Sure, go call it a cultural problem. Say that we have a cultural problem in this country, and that's why people don't. But it's still not the role of the government to force a cultural change. The government still needs to make sure that everybody, as much as they possibly can, has a level playing field where they start. That's it. And I think that Republicans, the reason that they don't talk like this, the reason they don't say exactly what I'm saying, even though they inherently know it's true, is because the logical conclusion from that statement that the government's role is not to force culture, that their job is to make things equitable, the obvious solution to that is tax people more. Make school more affordable, make college more affordable, make healthcare more affordable, make sure that all jobs pay a living wage, make sure that if you're a school teacher, you can pay and you can raise a family and you can elevate your position. Because the natural conclusion to that is, rich people are going to have to give up some of their money, and so Republicans never get to that point. And if you can get a Republican to get to that point when you have a discussion, they're going to have to concede a lot of those points, that you're going to need universal health care, that you're going to need a more progressive tax structure, that you're going to need to invest way more money in education. And instead, they can sit back and watch the rich in this country dismantle the entire apparatus so that they maintain their spot in the hierarchy and their family maintains that spot in the hierarchy. Like, we're just setting up a caste system right now. That's ultimately what the end result of these Republican policies will be if left untouched. We will be in a caste system, and you will have generational wealth and you will have generational poverty, and the mechanisms and the levers that historically in America you've been able to use to elevate yourself, those are being stripped. That's the point. They're being stripped away. And if you think the free market is going to step in and make it easier for people to make money, you're out of your fucking mind, because the free market, one, doesn't exist, and two, our markets are entirely controlled by billionaires who don't want you to have more wealth. They want you to work for them. They want to participate in the payment for your labor. They want to benefit from your labor as much as they possibly can. They want to pay you as little as they possibly can, where that will keep you returning to work. That's the goal of capitalism. That is the goal of the oligarch class. And that's the goal, apparently, of this Republican Party. And you guys can defend that all you want if you're a Republican, but I don't think you have good arguments. I think the American people are starting to see that. I do think that there's a real scenario where at the end of this, the American people see that Donald Trump and this Republican Party were always in it for the 1%. They weren't ever going to do shit for the American people, and we have a real opportunity for an actual revolution and fundamental changes to our country to provide for education, to provide for healthcare, and to provide a better life for everybody. And that's going to be at the expense of the billionaire class. And I can't wait to see it. Look, you guys saw me. If you were on TikTok last night, you saw me debate a multi-millionaire. And that person who is a conservative who voted for Trump agrees with everything I'm saying. He admits the game is rigged for him, and that's why he votes for it. He votes for it because he votes for Republicans because they will continue to rig the game for him. If you can ever get some of these people to be honest about why they're voting, and they actually understand the economics, they'll all tell you that. Get them off the record. Now, I'll give Tony credit for on the record saying what he said, but yeah, they admit it. They know what this is. And it's like, for the Republican bootlickers, knock it off. Knock it off. You're not. I promise you, they're not going to get money. They're not going to trickle down that money. There have been multiple people who have went to Tony asking for money for their businesses. I know a couple of creators went to him to try and get him to fund them. That money didn't trickle down. None of it did. It never does. Stop believing that these billionaires are going to do something for you. And Americans are waking up to that. Jen, do you want to do some announcements? Robert said, love the debates lately. Good conversations. If you can get past predictions. If you can get past predictions. Jen, we all love you. Keep it up, guys. Thank you. That's from Brother Bob. Jen, are you here?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Do your thing.
All right. So if you look up in the top left-hand corner, you'll see a gift goal. This is our job. We do this each day, Monday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. Pacific time to 1 o'clock. So this is our job. We need to knock out that gift goal by the end of the live so that we can keep the lights on, keep doing what we're doing. We are crowdfunded, so Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats all go towards knocking out that gift goal. So if you guys could knock that out, we would greatly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to us on Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime sub. Also, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, and we also have 4 different membership options as well. Check out our link tree. We're on most social media platforms. Jay loves his X, Twitter, all that good fun stuff. So if you want to go send him messages there, he loves that too. How many hate messages do you get on Twitter on a regular basis?
Not that many. If you're a liberal, everybody who's a liberal on Twitter knows like your engagement is throttled. It's so hard to get engagement on Twitter. In fact, I don't really post much on Twitter anymore. I just go there to get clips. I tried for like a month to do all the things that Twitter claims that you need to do to pump yourself up in the algorithm. But as soon as you get something that like gets a little bit of traction, you'll see your traffic will immediately be throttled. They don't want anybody saying the type of shit that we're saying on Twitter.
I've never ever gotten into it, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, it used to be so good, like for sports especially. I love Twitter because of sports, but now it's just like it's even hard to find sports.
Right. So last night, the debate, the live, is posted on YouTube. We've also got other content. If you guys want to go check out some of our other videos, we try to post there on a regular basis. So if you could go engage, like a video, make a comment. So yes, Mark, let's do me a favor.
That's why we're here. That's exactly right, Mark. We're here to turn you into a communist.
I want you to define communism for me. What is communism? I guarantee you
don't do that. Don't do that.
You know they don't know what it is. Anyways. So also if you guys want to chat with Jay, you can send me a message on Discord. It's the same as the Venmo, Jen, JENN, Dub, DUBB, the number 1. And I can bring you on to talk to Jay. So you don't have to just sit here and cry in the comments. You can actually come up and put on your big boy or big girl panties and
you don't even have to wear pants. You can come up with no pants. We don't judge.
Just we won't turn your camera on, and we won't see if you're not wearing pants. So that's fair. But yeah, check out our link here for other social medias. I know we got some different merch. Yeah, so there's all that. What's it called when you drink holy water mixed with laxatives?
Holy shit.
A religious movement.
Fuck. Mine wasn't bad. All right. That was good. I was
Wasn't
close.
bad.
Thank you. All right, Jen. Thanks very much. I forgot to check here. Let's see. I think I got those. Okay, gotcha. All right, we're going to pick up the energy now. All right. Chicago, man. Here's a story coming out of Chicago. You know that big fucking idiot, Tom Homan, and how he's running ICE, and he's a big fucking idiot, so that everything they do is idiotic. Here's an example of a Chicago man being detained, arrested, and jailed despite being an American citizen.
U.S. citizen Julio Noriega is one of 22 people in the Midwest who lawyers say have had their
I don't know why there's music behind it. I think maybe it's coming back from a break.
constitutional rights violated by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and President Trump. Noriega was arrested and detained by ICE in Berwyn, Illinois in late January. At a press conference this morning, lawyers outlined ICE agents' unlawful actions and called for the immediate release of the people who are still detained. Adriana Cardona Magigad, WBEZ's immigration reporter, was there, and she joins us now in studio. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to see you. So I want to hear more about this case of Julio Noriega. As I mentioned, he's a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, that was very surprising. So basically, he's 54 years old. He's a Chicago resident, born here. He also has a learning disability, which affects his comprehension skills. And around January 31st, he was walking down the street of Cermak in Harlem, that's Berwyn, looking for a job. He stops to buy some pizza, and then like these agents pretty much spot him. They surround him. They handcuff him. They put him. They push him inside a white van, where he sees other people also being handcuffed. And
I don't know if they caught it there, but like he had identification on him. They didn't even bother. They just took him and they threw him in a van. And when they throw you in a van, like it's not like they take you to detention. Then they take you around while they round up more people. This is a person who had ID and could prove that they are here legally, that they are a United States citizen. Didn't even ask, just threw him in a van.
And then he's driven around and for hours and hours and hours, and he's taken to ICE processing center in Broadview, Illinois. And there he almost kind of spends the night. And once the agents kind of check his wallet and see that he's actually a U.S. citizen, they let him go. And without, apparently without ways to even get home.
Yeah. So
just saying, if this is just a white lady, and we're not talking about ICE roundups, it's just any fucking white lady, and she gets arrested and detained, and let's say it's in let's use Chicago because that'll trigger the Republicans. Just a white lady goes to Chicago. A police officer shows up, arrests her, puts her in a van, and she gets detained for 16 hours. Front page news everywhere. You guys would be losing your shit. You'd be like, this is what happens when the libs run. This is communism, fascism, because you think those two things can possibly exist together, which is wild. But then you would just you'd cry like, oh, it's Joe Biden's America. This is what the libs want. This is why they're This is why they yell from the river to the sea. This is why they're indoctrinating college. You lose your fucking minds. But because it's a Hispanic person, you see somebody up here was like, oh, poor Julio, it's so sad. Let me get you a wambulance. Like, this is just history. Don't round up and lock up people who haven't committed crimes. If we can't agree on that, like, I guess you can call it liberal tears, but you'll lose that messaging battle. Most people in this world don't agree with this. So keep it up. Keep it up. Keep arresting people who are United States citizens. Keep letting these stories come out and show up. Make sure when these stories come out, if it's not me, if it's other live streamers, make sure you show up every time and tell and talk about like how everybody's crying and how it's no big deal. Keep doing it. This is great stuff for us. You guys, Tom Homan might be he was the best person for the libs. Now it's looking like Pete Hegseth might be helping us the most, but.
This all started with him just going out to get a pizza for his family.
He was looking for a job, and then he stopped,
Andrew, Obama left office like fucking 10, 12 years ago. Shut the fuck up. I don't like it when you're saying bad things that are happening currently and not focusing on things that happened 15 years ago. Talk about the past because the present is hurting my feelings. No. No, we're going to talk about news. We're going to talk about shit that's happening right now. If you want to talk about Obama, you're welcome to come up and talk about Obama. But we're going to talk about news that's happening right now.
Just to get some pizza. Just like
Get
a
something to
regular
eat.
day, yeah.
And they don't check his ID until he's taken to this ICE facility in Broadview and is practically there all night.
That's what the court documents show, yeah.
Interesting. So talk about how Chicago lawyers then are alleging that immigration rights, or immigration's agents rather, they're violating the constitutional rights here of not just Julio, but these other 21 people.
I love it. I love it. Let's screenshot everything Andrew says and just put it behind music and just post it on the internet, post it on Twitter and be like, this is what conservatives think. It's all right. He just got detained. It's not like he was actually deported. Yeah, keep saying it. Keep doing it. All of that. Just give Andrew quotes. Come up here. I'll give you 2 minutes. Shout all your catchphrases. We'll put them together. We'll edit it together with a nice piece of music, and we'll just put it out there without any commentary, and we'll see. We'll see what the reaction is. I love it. More of you. We want more of Andrews. I hope they elect more Andrews. I hope that Andrew's voice is the only Republican voice that is amplified. If Andrew's voice is amplified, the goals that we want for just like a better country, where people don't die because they can't get access to health care, where people can afford houses, where people can afford to raise a family. Like, we want that stuff. And probably the best way for us to get there quickly is if Republicans start listening to more people like Andrew. We want more Andrews in the Republican Party. Keep it up, brother. I applaud your work, and I'm glad that you're here. You're welcome all day, every day. But please don't stop commenting. We need more of that. This actually jumps right into it. Here's Greg Kazar. I think it's Kazar is how you pronounce that. He's from Texas. He's saying exactly what I'm saying right now. It is time for the Democrats to take advantage of the morons that are in office, and don't go along with the morons. Don't try and find middle ground. Take the opposite position of the Republicans, and it is a winning message.
I'm Greg Kazar. I'm proud to represent the heart of Texas in the United States Congress, to chair the Congressional Progressive Caucus. But before all that, I started my career as a labor organizer. And I saw up close how corporate lobbyists and corrupt politicians would trade campaign contributions for corporate tax breaks, and how they would trade lower wages for workers for fatter paychecks for CEOs and their political friends. They thought that working people could do nothing about this. They thought their workers were too divided to push back. But on construction sites, guys who spoke different languages and who came from different places were pissed off, and they were willing to put their differences aside to come together and fight back, stop the corruption, and demand a fair paycheck. We didn't win by going on bended knee and begging big corporations for better treatment. We did it by unifying working people around some central ideas: that Americans deserve a good pay for a full day's work, and that taxpayer dollars are meant for the common good. They are not for corporate welfare. Those ideas brought workers together to win historic wage increases and better benefits in the heart of Texas. And this is what we need today in America. And this is what we need the Democratic Party to be all about. The central goal of the Democratic Party should be to break the unholy alliance between corporate greed and corrupt government. We can't just beg CEOs to please bring down prices. We have to break up the giant monopolies that are screwing over consumers and small businesses alike. We can't just beg big CEOs to say, please be nicer to us. No, we have to get big money out of politics so that the ultra-rich don't have a bigger say in this country than the everyday person. And we cannot just beg corporations to give people a raise. We have to unionize workplaces and pass laws that protect the American worker and the American worker's wages. And to get there, we have to transform the Democratic Party into a party that fights for working people first, no matter what, and into a party that is willing to stand up to the powerful special interests that are screwing over working people. Because if we love our country, we have to be willing to fight for the people who make it work.
Hey guys, check it out. Marjorie Taylor Greene's son is here. Just some roach. Good to have you. We were talking about you earlier. You must have heard us coming and you came in. That's exactly correct by Kazar there. when Democrats do well in elections, it's because they do the opposite of what Harris did. It's that they talk about things that actually benefit working class people. You don't try and toe the line. You don't try and sit on the fence. You don't sit on the fence about Israel. You don't sit on the fence about healthcare. Because if you do that, if you're a fence sitter, there's been some Republicans in the chat. I don't remember who it was that were like, yeah, this is Democrats would have beat Trump if they had good policies. Agreed. Yeah. Democrats would have beat Trump if we had good policies. We didn't have good policies. There was not a clear vision from Harris. There was, and in fact, for those of us like myself who voted for Harris, it kind of sucked. Like I got to be honest, I wasn't like thrilled about it. I wasn't thrilled about the policies. My only thought was, hey, you know, maybe some of this stuff, maybe she'll soften on Israel. Maybe she'll push towards better healthcare. Maybe that's what we all went into. Like, maybe she'll do these things. I agree with you, Republicans. I appreciate you saying that, and thanks for being here. I agree with all of that, but that's why we have to have real policies that actually benefit working class people, because we know that these policies from Republicans are not going to benefit working class people. They just lied to you. They lied to the working class. They lied to the unions. They lied to the teachers. They lied to all of you. And they've spent the first 2 months of this administration doing nothing but handing out money to billionaires. Now, you can say, wait and see. That's fine. But why weren't you first? Why was it billionaires first? Ask yourself that question. How come Donald Trump and the Republicans didn't put you first? How come the billionaires are getting all their shit first? That happened last time, too. We had this conversation last time. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. He's doing the tax cuts now, but, like, give him time. Then we gave him 4 years, and after 4 years, he hadn't done anything for the middle class. He didn't do anything for the poor. The wealth disparity accelerated. The people that could afford emergency funds decreased. We've already seen this before, and I understand. Sure, you voted for him because you thought you liked his messaging better. Cool. You didn't vote for Trump for policies, though, either. None of you did, because his policies were Project 2025, and you all said that he wasn't doing that. Wait, Trump ran for like 2.5 years. For 2.5 years, I held a live Monday through Friday, and I asked every Republican the same question. Name one Trump policy that he's going to put into place. Never once got an answer. Not once. And then I would pull up Project 2025 and Agenda 47. I'd be like, well, here's what he's saying. He says he wants to get rid of the Department of Education. And you're like, nah, he's not going to do that. Here he is. He's going to cut taxes for billionaires, and he's going to cut the Department of Education. He's going to gut the SEC so that his friends can run crypto scams. He's going to gut the FEC so that he can control elections. And he's going to gut the FTC so that he can control trade and give handouts to his billionaire friends. So let's not. You might be right that Democrats would have won if they had better policies, but like you guys didn't have policies either. You just liked the messaging from Trump, and he's not doing anything he promised you. Not for you, at least. If you voted for him because you thought billionaires needed more money, then I guess you got what you were asking for. But that's about it. Here's Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear explaining exactly what we're talking about right now. Now, remember, Andy Beshear is a Democratic governor of a very red state. He's very popular across party lines. And here's what he's saying about Trump's tariffs and what it'll mean to the people of Kentucky.
How are you feeling about his second term so far? And how are the folks you're talking to in Kentucky feeling about it?
I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned with the actions of the president, his administration. I'm worried about the example he's setting for the country and how kids growing up are going to view not just this president, but the presidency itself. His policies are going to specifically hurt my people. Tariff policy is going to hit Kentucky harder than just about anywhere else. You look at what's already happening with bourbon. 95% of the world's bourbon is made in Kentucky, but that's all the bourbon worth drinking. But this time, it's not just a responsive tariff.
I'm just going to take a time to say my favorite bourbon comes from California. So I don't know if I agree with that.
Say from the EU or from Canada, but Canada's actually removing it entirely from some of the shelves.
Thanks, Nancy.
You look at our auto industry and the fact that we have a company called Martin Rea. It's a Canadian company. Mm-hmm. It's got about 500 employees in Western Kentucky, and its parts go from Canada to Kentucky to Mexico, back to Kentucky, and back to Canada. So these tariffs,
a lot of tariffs.
Yeah, are going to impact our state. Our number one export target is Canada. It's about 23% of all of our exports. And this president is picking on an ally and a friend in a way that it's going to hurt my people.
Yeah, like how long do you expect these Republican voters to continue to stand with Trump when it starts to hurt them? When it's obvious. Like the thing about these tariffs is you can't blame them on anybody but Trump. You can't even blame them on the Republicans in office. You can literally only blame them on Trump. How much longer do you think support for Republicans is going to last if these tariffs kick in? And if they don't kick in, by the way, let's say that they just never wind up doing these tariffs. Well, then what does that say about Trump? Like he's that bad of a negotiator? He threatened tariffs, got nothing in return, and then just gave up. He's like, never mind, I'll just focus on cutting taxes for my billionaire buddies. How much patience will the Republicans have for this type of like failed policy, this type of failed leadership? I don't think it's that much longer. We showed you the polling from earlier. Trump came in with a net positive approval rating when it came to the economy. It's dipped 20% or 20 points. He's got a 20-point flip in 2 months. That is disastrous. And that it's disastrous for a reason. It's not like there's like some fake story going around that people are believing. It's literally watching Trump in real time announce tariffs, roll them back the next day, announce tariffs, roll them back the next day, claim that he got concessions out of Canada and Mexico, and those were things that they already had granted exceptions for or concessions for. He's getting rolled over and over and over again. And I don't think Republicans are going to have like a great deal of patience for Donald Trump on that. Johnny said, I'm here. Bourbon balls. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate that. Thanks for the new subscribers. Where are we at? 10:45? We got time. Let me cover just, let's see. I want to show this, actually. Just because it makes Republicans so mad. This is, what's his name? I don't know everybody in this, but Walter... Matheson? Is it Matheson? Walter, is it Matheson? Is that his last name? Anyways, the comedian, he went and disrupted a Republican fundraiser.
I just want to thank everyone here. Thank you for his
Masterson.
Support of DOGE, and thank you for defunding Medicaid. You've done a great job. Medicaid, Social Security. Those grandmothers don't need all that money. They do not need, you know what, they can just buy dog food. They can just buy all the dog food. Let's just buy dog food.
Sir?
Let's all suck off President Mize.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Whoa.
Get out of here. Everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. Thank you everyone here for supporting President Musk. And a corporate oligarchy. You've done a great job. You're all true patriots.
Get the fuck out of here.
Which expands work requirements for SNAP. Work requirements don't lift people out of poverty. It keeps eligible people from acquiring assistance and drive people deeper into poverty.
Dollar serves the richest guy. Hey, Lawler, get off it. Put people over. Hey, Lawler, get off it. Hey, Lawler.
Now, that is a man who is so upset by this interruption that now he's assaulting women. This chonky Steve Jobs here in his best black sweater is now assaulting women because he doesn't like what they're saying.
Get off it! Stop it! Put people over profit! Hey, Lawler! Get off it! Put people over
Oh, there's another punch.
Hey, Lawler! Get off it! Get off it! Put people over profit! Hey, Lawler! Get off it! 3 cheers for corporate oligarchy! Yeah!
Corporate oligarchy!
Let's all suck off President Mize. Just to show you, cops don't prevent anything.
That is wild that the police just like sat there and watched all of that happen. Just multiple assaults happened. Look, I don't know what the rules are there. Like maybe they could be charged with trespassing. Maybe Walter Masterson committed a crime there. I don't know. I don't know the rules, but I did see a man punch a woman, and I know that that's an angry MAGA man, and I bet his wife was thinking, yeah, I know how that feels. I know exactly how that feels. You don't want to make him mad because he'll punch anybody. He'll punch a woman. I hope assault charges are filed there. What a bitch. What an absolute bitch of a man. So triggered by, you interrupted my meeting. I must punch you. And that's the MAGA in the chat. Like, you guys are the most easily triggered human beings on earth. You love talk about like liberal tears and being triggered. You show up every day. You all say the exact same shit every single day. None of you have a coherent argument. None of you have the courage to come up and actually have a debate. You're just going to sit there and cry in the comments, and we love you and we appreciate the engagement and we hope you stick around. But one of you, it would be dope if one of you guys like got a little bit of courage and started engaging like a human being. That'd be cool. Mary said, Jay, please keep up the Republican voices. Yeah, I'm good at Republican voices. I grew up around them. I know how hysterical they get. Why are they interrupting the meeting? All this man is doing is trying to help his friend Elon Musk, because if Elon Musk can't make Teslas, then America is doomed. If he can't give himself a $50 billion bonus despite revenue dying in his company, then America is doomed. What will we ever do if Elon Musk is gone? Probably just operate normally because that guy's a fucking idiot. When are you guys going to realize that guy's stupid? I'm going to talk about Social Security for a minute, and then we're going to get on to a couple of congressional hearings. This is Senator Wyden. As the Finance Committee, the Senate Finance Committee is holding another hearing about waste, fraud, and abuse, because that's all they ever do. And then they show you a bunch of shit that isn't waste, fraud, and abuse. And today they're talking about Social Security, because remember, despite the fact that Republicans told you they're not coming after your Social Security, they absolutely are. Their budget requires cuts from Social Security. And before you Republicans get too excited and say, well, yeah, if we cut out all the waste of Social Security, we'd save billions. Incorrect. Here's how much you would save.
Last year, the Social Security Inspector General issued a report showing Social Security, retirement, and disability has a criminal fraud rate of, get this, 0.009%.
0.009%? That's massive. 0.009%. So it's 1% of 1% of 1%. Massive.
By the way, as a percentage, that's much lower than the $1.4 billion in assets that reportedly went missing on the Tesla balance sheet just last week. Social Security itself reported 89,000 Americans aged 99.
Yeah, that story went away in a hurry, didn't it? Tesla just can't account for $1.4 billion. Where'd it go? Let's keep our CEO, though. Let's definitely not fire our CEO who crashed our stock price and lost $1.4 billion. Let's keep him around.
And over receiving benefits in December of last.
Charlie, thanks for asking. My name is Jay, and my credentials are I don't lie in front of Congress, and I don't lie to the American people about waste, fraud, and abuse, and I don't lie about trying to cut Social Security and then cutting Social Security. If you want my political credentials, I am. I have great political credentials. I bet stronger than yours. I was a precinct chair multiple times. I was a state and national delegate. I worked on congressional campaigns, Senate campaigns, presidential campaigns, all for your dumbass party, all for the Republicans. So thank you for asking. For anybody who doesn't know me yet, I'm a former Republican who can read, and that's why I'm no longer a Republican, because reading doesn't really work. Like if you find out, like you learn about science and math, it really fucks up the whole Republican plan. So thanks for asking.
Last year. And Social Security automatically stops paying benefits at age 115, even if a death has not been reported. So don't take it from me. Check this sign. It says, why DOGE is struggling to find fraud in Social Security. So what's behind these lies on Social Security? In my view, they're deliberately misleading the public to set the stage for cuts to Social Security benefits that are going to be draped in anti-fraud rhetoric, the same way we're hearing the case being made for cutting Medicaid. Let's be clear again. Senate Democrats are going to fight attempts to cut Americans' earned benefits at every single turn.
Let's get to that article, but not before we point out that after I let the chat know, all these Republicans in the chat, right after I told you guys I was Republican, that's when you guys started calling me a groomer. And I think that's apt. I think you are right to assume that somebody in Republican leadership is a groomer. Now, I'm not a groomer, but I get why statistically, I'm not even offended that you called me a groomer, because statistically speaking, if I were a Republican in a leadership position, it's likely that I'm a groomer. So I get it. I understand why you call me a groomer, and I'm not going to be offended by that. You were just using reasoning and math, saying like Republican in leadership, yeah, he probably grooms children. Yeah, you Christian too? You were Christian? Oh God, you definitely are grooming children. Yeah, I understand why you said that. I'm not, but I'm not offended by that. So thanks for bringing that up. Renee says, I loved the honest debate last night with with Tony Ravioli last night. Crypto is 100% a scam. Get him on the show. At least he's honest. Yeah, look, I know people don't like Tony Ravioli. I have a lot of relationships with Republicans that I like. I don't know. Sometimes people's views are abhorrent, but you can either hate everybody or you can have them. I enjoy my conversations with Tony. Like you said, like at least he's honest about it. At least he's honest about the scam that's going on. Here's the article that they were referencing, though. It was from Washington Post. Republicans, real quick while I'm pulling this up, go ahead and tell us why we shouldn't believe the Washington Post, how it's liberal lies. And oh my God, these liberals are using Washington Post. What a joke. Go ahead, get those comments in before we start this article. I know what I said, Washington Post, like the bots just automatically, Washington Post is liberal propaganda. Here it is. By the way, it's literally owned by Bezos, who said you can't do anything that is like anti-capitalism now. Rye says, I believe it's pronounced Tesla, Jay. That's correct. That's on me. That's my bad. Thank you, Rye, for keeping me in check. Some of the biggest examples of alleged wasteful spending held up by Musk and DOGE so far have been overblown or inaccurate. Musk's assertion that tens of millions of dead people over 100 years old are receiving Social Security benefits was so off base that it had to be tamped down by the agency's acting head, who had been promoted because of his willingness to cooperate with DOGE. These individuals are not necessarily receiving benefits. Yeah, not necessarily. They're not, and that's what he means by not. Because Elon keeps lying about every one of these numbers. If you go look at like the archive of the receipts page on Doge, look how many times they've had to pull down receipts of funding that they claimed they cut that they didn't actually cut. It's embarrassingly bad. Oh, this is the wrong color. Let me get that so I can see it. But less than 1% of Social Security's payments in recent years were determined to be improper, often the result of an accidental oversight or charge in the benefit status, according to a report last year by the agency's Inspector General, who I believe they fired. That works out to about $9 billion a year, and more than 2/3 of the mistaken payments were eventually clawed back. What that means is 2/3 of the payments of that $9 billion that were accidentally sent out or improperly sent out, they actually were able to get that money back. So they were able to recover 2/3 of that money. That's pretty good. And why did we know that there were $9 billion in fraudulent payments? And why did we claw it back? Because we have inspector generals that do the job that they claim Elon Musk is doing, except for they actually got things accomplished. They actually did real audits. They actually clawed back money. Elon hasn't clawed back a goddamn thing because he doesn't know what he's doing. Another agency audit, which looked only at payment to retired workers, survivors, and people with disabilities, found fraud was listed as the cause behind just 3% of the improper payments. So out of all those payments, out of those $9 billion, only 3% were behind improper benefit payment, or fraud was listed as the excuse behind those improper benefit payments. Massive. Look at all this stuff that Elon hasn't uncovered this yet. This stuff was publicly available, and Elon can't even get these numbers right. The Inspector General made this publicly available. We held congressional hearings about this last year before Elon was here. And now Elon showed up and he's just like, I'm just going to make up some numbers. Like we can't go fact check. Despite the flood of money flowing through it, Social Security didn't make a 2024 list by the Government Accountability Office, the legislative branch's nonpartisan watchdog, detailing the 16 agencies with improper payment rates of at least 10%. That report further found that 80% of all improper payments were due to just 5 government programs, Medicare and Medicaid, but not Social Security. And when you're talking about Medicare and Medicaid, this is the problem with Republicans' messaging. They're like, there's all these people that just don't want to work that are scamming Medicare and Medicaid. No, the improper payments were billing. These are doctors and hospitals that bill Medicare and Medicaid, and then Medicare and Medicaid paid them out. So it was actually rich folks who were improperly billing Medicare and Medicaid who were stealing. But are we going to go after the rich people? Hell no. Give those motherfuckers a tax break. They're scamming. They scam the American people. The Republicans blame poor people, and then they give those same exact people a tax break. Do you see the game? Do you see the scam that we have afoot? They all commit crimes, and then you just blame poor people. It's poor people. If more people were working and not on Medicare and Medicaid, then we wouldn't have this problem. No, incorrect. The problem we have is with greedy billers, whether it be hospitals or doctors' offices, in-home nurses, nursing facilities, people. In fact, in Florida, if you scam Medicaid for enough money, like if you do billions of dollars in Medicare, fraud, you know what you get? A fucking Senate seat. Literally, the biggest scammer in Medicare history is a senator for the state of Florida. That's Senator Scott from the state of Florida. Republicans love this shit. There's nothing Republicans celebrate more than stealing money from poor people or stealing money from sick people or stealing money from elderly people. He stole billions? God damn, put that guy in Washington. We need more of that. And by the way, let's bring in a billionaire to audit this and blame poor people some more. Keep it up, Republicans. For the love of God, everybody in the chat, keep going. Please, tell us about this. Tell us all about how this is a good message for you. Keep talking. I love it. Social Security is among the most scrutinized and audited agencies in the government, with frequent probes by a 500-person Office of Inspector General. It pays outside auditors to examine its books. Congress grills agency officials. Last year, a major focus in congressional hearings led by the GOP wasn't waste or fraud. It was about Social Security being too aggressive in clawing back accidental benefit overpayments. So just last year, the same Republicans that are like, there's all this waste, fraud, and abuse, and we need to get that money back. Last year, they're like, the government's being too aggressive in taking this money back. Pick a fucking direction. You guys got, like, no wonder the Republicans in office in Congress are just sitting there and letting Elon Musk do this, because they don't know what to do. They're like, wait a minute. Last year, we were saying that it was government overreach to claw back these fraudulent payments, and now we're saying that we should just probably let poor people die and not fund this anymore. Pick a direction. Pick a direction. Criminal investigations with the Social Security's IG office typically investigate cases tied to disability fraud or covering up a relative's death to continue receiving benefits. The IG also monitors seemingly minor issues such as potential misuse of government credit cards. Last month, it reported that the risk for problems was low because of strict internal controls. They do such a good job with the Social Security Administration that they're one of the most well-run departments in the government. They have very little waste, fraud, and abuse, almost none. It's extremely closely watched, said Nancy Altman, who is the president of Social Security Works. When asked about the reams of audits and reports that appear to contradict Trump and Musk's assertions of rampant waste and fraud in Social Security, White House spokesman Harrison Fields said the cost-cutting operation was being unfairly maligned. It's not fair, guys. I know that the data is not in our favor, but it's very, very unfair. What you need to recognize is that they're trying their best. And even though they're fucking it up around every turn, they're doing their very best. And it's not fair for you guys to criticize these poor rich people. The continued attempts to sow doubt in the massive accomplishments of this never-before-seen effort to make government more efficient speaks about the illegitimacy of those peddling these falsehoods than the good work of DOGE, Fields said. The American public are in lockstep with the president's mission and will not be swayed by more lies coming from the legacy media. Bullshit. Turns out the American people are turning on DOGE. We saw it. We've shown the approval ratings. They don't like DOGE. They see what we're seeing. DOGE isn't doing shit. Now, this is for you guys. This is for the Republicans in the chat. I want to just highlight this. I understand that it is your job and your role to take orders and lick boots. So I only read this for you because I care about you, and I don't want you and your Republican friends to fight with each other. I want you to stay deathly loyal to this administration. So just a reminder, the administration is telling you that you will not be swayed by the legacy media. You won't be swayed by these inconvenient facts and figures and math. You won't, because you love President Trump. And don't you dare be swayed by numbers and facts. Don't do it. You won't be swayed. They're giving you that direction. So please follow orders. I don't want to be the reason that you and your Republican friends break up. I want you to continue to be the good bootlickers, the good foot soldiers that you are. Show up with no information. Talk about liberal tears. Make sure you drop Obama and Biden's name. Make sure you reference that we lost the election. Just do that every day. Don't learn anything new. Don't allow any of this to seep in your head. All you need to know is that you show up every day and you recite the pre-planned talking points that you don't even realize you're being programmed to say. We'll get into that here in a minute. I think that was there's two other things. All right. On social media, Musk has alleged that more than 20 million Americans over the age of 100 receive Social Security checks, derisively describing it as a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. Those claims aren't backed up by agency data or any data that he has provided. The agency has millions of people in its databases who lack recorded dates of death, the result of an old computer system and events that are decades in the past. That doesn't mean they're getting checks. Social Security auditors in 2023 reported that 98% of those without recorded dates of death were not receiving agency benefits and were known to be deceased. But again, Republicans, don't let any of this seep into your head. Your job is to close your eyes, plug your ears, and shout out the talking points that Charlie Kirk gives you every single morning. Now, this morning in Congress, Congress has decided that what they really need to go after is NPR. So a large marge here has held a hearing because for some reason Republicans think they should put the dumbest person in their party in charge of a caucus. But the reason you choose the dumbest person is because DOGE is going to lie and do shit that doesn't make any sense and do fraudulent things. And what you need is a fucking moron to chair that committee so that the fucking moron chairing that committee doesn't get in the way. Again, they hand her a piece of paper. They say, read this. She reads it, which is awesome that she can read. She's a better reader than I thought. But this is a DOGE committee hearing today. And while the Trump administration is scrambling to explain why their drunken Secretary of Defense and the rest of the national security members who were on that text thread just were flagrantly and willfully, I guess, loose with classified information. They don't want to talk about that. So we're going to bring in NPR and PBS, and we're going to talk about the damage that NPR and PBS are doing to this country instead.
5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I want to first begin by thanking all of our witnesses that are here today. I know that there's a lot we should be discussing right now at this hearing. We've, of course, had some pretty shocking security breaches that we're just learning about through a lot of our national security officials. We know that Pete Hegseth should be removed from office or should resign. We have Donald Trump, who, of course, is crashing the stock market. He's taken away millions of programs.
Chris, the Democrats haven't passed a single bill, you dumbass. Keep saying it. Keep saying it.
And hurting people across this country to fund tax giveaways to billionaires. And our constituents can't access their Social Security benefits. Now, I think actually Chairwoman Green supports everything that the Trump administration is actually doing.
Yes.
So instead of a serious hearing, we're here to attack NPR and PBS. So let's get right into it. Now, Ms. Kerger, the American people want to know, is Elmo now, or has he ever been, a member of the Communist Party of the United States? A yes or no?
No.
Now, are you sure, Ms. Kerger? Because he's obviously red.
That's true.
Well, he is a puppet, but no.
Now, that's not all. He also has a very dangerous message about sharing and helping each other. He's indoctrinating our kids that sharing is caring. Now, maybe he's part of a major socialist plot, and maybe that's why the chairwoman is having this hearing today. But let's talk about somebody else. Let's talk about Cookie Monster. Now, we know that Health Secretary RFK Jr. is coming out against fast food and baked goods. Are we silencing pro-cookie voters? Yes or no? Ms. Kerger.
But cookies are a sometime food.
Well, thank you. And now, I agree with you. And let's also talk about the most important, maybe, character on Sesame Street. This is actually Big Bird. Now, Ms. Kerger, since Elon Musk actually fired USDA workers who have been working on the bird flu, does it make sense to also fire Big Bird? Yes or no?
We would like to keep Big Bird.
I completely agree with you. And now it gets even worse. Now, this is actually a tweet that Big Bird actually sent out about the COVID-19.
All right, COVID vaccine conspiracies. Get ready. get ready. Get ready. This is gonna piss you off. So just you may want to sit down. You're gonna be a little outraged here that a vaccine that has been very effective at keeping people alive and is overwhelmingly safe and effective. That Big Bird suggested that you do the thing that science has proven is the most effective thing to keep you healthy.
Vaccine, encouraging folks to actually get their vaccination, which of course we believe in vaccines. Now, perhaps the reason why we're having this hearing is because our chairwoman, Ms. Green, has actually said some really negative things about getting vaccinations. And that's perhaps is why we are here. And so we support Big Bird being pro-vaccine and promoting vaccines across this country. Now, I will admit, though, the extreme liberal agenda that you're all pushing, I think, doesn't stop there. This, of course, is Bert and Ernie. Now, these two guys actually live together. They're friends.
We know what that means. Nobody lives together who's not fucking. It's like the Republican ideology. Despite the fact that they're puppets and don't have genitals, Republicans have still figured out a way to be obsessed with the non-existent genitals of two puppets. Obsessed with sex. You got just leave that at the door, guys. Leave that in your search history.
Supportive of each other. Now, that might be triggering to our chairwoman and some on this committee, and perhaps that's also why we're here today. Ms. Kerger, an important question. Are Bert and Ernie part of an extreme homosexual agenda?
Fair question.
No.
Fuck.
Thank you, Ms. Kerger, and thank you for being a good sport.
Thought we had him there. I'm a Republican right now. I thought we had him right there. I thought that was the gotcha. Didn't. Damn.
Now, I'm obviously using some humor here, but the fact that we're sitting here today talking about defunding public television is actually not funny. At a time where we can't agree on basic facts, and while the free press is under attack, we need public media like PBS and NPR more than ever. A large majority of Americans say they trust PBS. And that's exactly why extremists are trying to tear it down. Public broadcasting is a tool for education, for emergencies, and a cherished part of our national fabric. We get huge benefits from a tiny federal investment. The majority and our chairwoman should drop this attempt to silence media voices they don't like. So the message, I think, today is very, very simple. If we're going to get rid of any puppeteers, we should get rid of the one that's actually controlling Donald Trump. Fire Elon Musk and save Elmo. And with that, I yield back.
All right. Jen's going to come up and do some announcements, but I do have some more clips on that here in a second. Jen, welcome back. Maybe. Muted, maybe.
Hola.
Hey.
So, yeah, the comments. I just want to remind everybody, if you guys would like to talk to RTP, how you can do that is you can add me on Discord, send me a message on Discord. My username is the same as the Venmo on Discord. It's Jen, Jenn, Dubb, Dubb, the number 1. And I can bring you in to talk to Jay. You can actually have a conversation. You don't have to just, rage type in the comments. You can actually have a conversation if you want.
It's amazing to watch just the shit that we've all heard. Like, it is literally like our chat with Republicans. It's just you guys come in and you say shit that we've all heard before, and we all know is like that you don't understand what you're talking about. Just have a conversation. Don't come in with just like prepared talking points. Like there's Tanya say the same thing. Peeps on the left, when they change the law for 1 year to go out to trump that as corruption. Just come up. Just come talk. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can fix that.
Yeah, it's just like, it's ironic. Whatever. Anyways, also, so it's 11:12 currently, Pacific time. So we do the show till about 1 Pacific each day. So if you look in the top left-hand corner, we have a gift goal. That's the remaining balance we need to hit by the end of the show. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all that go towards knocking out the rest of that gift goal. If you guys could help us out, we'd appreciate it. If you haven't already subscribed to us on Twitch, please do so. You can use an Amazon Prime sub, and also subscribe to us on YouTube. You can get turn on notifications so that when we go live, it'll pop up for you. Also, go check out our different videos. We try to post content on a regular basis. And also, if you could like the stream with a little red heart, we would be happy. That would make us happy too. Also, check out our link tree. We're on most social media platforms, and we got some merch. We've got different fun items for your favorite soy boy cuck.
That's
content.
me. That's me.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, I am the soy boy liberal beta cuck.
Yeah, which is funny because people say that all the time that you're soft and you're so it's and what's even funnier is seeing the comments because YouTube flags most things, so you guys are just the same bigoted shit that everyone posts. You're not original, just so you know.
Yeah. Come on up, guys.
What do you call cold sex workers?
Cold sex workers?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Prostitute.
Prostitute. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Here's Greg Kazar again. Two Greg Kazar moments, asking the hard-hitting questions that are important. And this is exactly how you should treat any Marjorie Taylor Greene hearing.
How many millions of dollars a month do taxpayers spend for Daniel Tiger to play golf?
I have no idea.
I think the answer is none.
Okay.
To your knowledge, has Miss Piggy ever been caught trying to funnel billions of dollars in government contracts to herself and to her companies?
That's a silly question.
Well, the answer is no. How about Arthur the Aardvark? Has he ever fired independent government watchdogs who are investigating his companies? The answer is no. Madam Chair, I'm told we're here to talk about government efficiency, but Daniel Tiger has not blown $10 million of taxpayer money to play golf with his friends, but Donald Trump has, just at the beginning of his administration. Miss Piggy hasn't been caught funneling billions of dollars in government contracts to herself, but Elon Musk has. And Arthur has not fired independent government watchdogs investigating him and his companies. But Elon Musk has fired at least 5.
Elon Musk gets $8 million a day from the federal government to his companies. I don't want to hear about handouts for bureaucrats. This is a bureaucrat who bought his way into power. He did it with Obama. I mean, he convinced Obama to give him a deal that he shouldn't have given him for Tesla. Now he bought himself a seat in the government, and here he is making $8 million a day for his companies while he guts funding for poor people. And you guys can defend that all you want. That's great. Yesterday, somebody got upset that we didn't show the Republican side of the questioning. So today I'm going to show the best person that you guys have on this committee, which is James Comer. And I'm sorry. I really am. I'm sorry that this is the best that you have.
I'm glad you
keeps playing. But here's James Comer, and I'm 5 minutes of questioning here from James Comer.
brought up a point. It's been mentioned a couple of times already at the early start of this hearing about rural and remote. And I have to tell this story. When I graduated from college with a degree in agriculture, I went back to rural Monroe County, Kentucky, and worked on a farm, my farm, for 5 years, full-time. Farm to this day, but full-time. I was in a tractor, sometimes 10, 12, 14 hours a day. And I listened to the radio, and the only radio station I could get that had news was public radio. So I listened to as many hours of public radio as any.
He didn't need to tell that story, but he did. Bean says, I'm still on Anne Frank, but wanted to send this into the future. Love you, soy peoples. Thank you, Bean.
One on this panel, I can assure you. And it was a great service. That was 30-some years ago. Today, in that same remote area, I mean, you've got Sirius XM, you've got podcasts, there's internet access now. There's a whole menu of media options now. So, but over time, and I still occasionally listen to NPR because I just want to hear what they have to say. And I don't even recognize the station anymore. It's not news. I feel like
I don't think anybody should be surprised that a radio station 30 years later doesn't sound exactly the same as it did 40 years later. Yeah, this is what he's coming up with. This is what Republicans. This is their best. Literally, this is their best. They held this hearing. These were their gotchas. This is what they have so far. NPR is different than it was 40 years ago. All right, cool. You know what else is different than 40 years ago? Fucking everything. Literally everything. Everything is different than it was 40 years ago. That's kind of how the world works. Things change.
It's propaganda. I feel like there's disinformation every time I listen to NPR.
Okay, let's talk about it.
And, a media entity like MSNBC or Huffington Post that, in my opinion, consistently spews disinformation. They can do that. They're a private company. But NPR gets federal funds.
Yeah.
And you know, I have a problem with that, because if people in Alaska, if all they have is public radio, then all they know is what these headlines say.
Great. Let's talk about these headlines, and you tell me which of these is partisan, and which of them is fake news. The first headline here on the left, these are from COVID Origins. Some of them I can't see because they're too small. But COVID Origins, or oranges, as Donald Trump would say, the oranges of COVID. As Trump pushes theory of virus origins, some see parallels in lead up to Iraq war. How is that? That's fake news? They're reporting on what Trump is saying, and they're reporting on what other people are saying. That's what the fucking news is. The news is not there to just say, like, here are the facts of every story, here's the conclusion. And that's what he's talking about. This is literally both sides. Here's what Trump is saying, here's what other people are saying. Down here, theory that COVID came from a Chinese lab takes on new life in wake of WHO report. Okay. How's that fake? They're reporting that there is a new report and that the lab leak theory takes on a new life, that it has changed the theory. Is that fake? No. I can't see these two about the Biden family investigation. It says, are Trump allies peddling Russian disinformation about the Bidens? They were. We know that for a fucking fact now. That was just true. So it appears what James Comer gets upset about is NPR not licking the orange McDonald's asshole of Donald Trump and not saying, look, everything Republicans say is true. None of these are even none of these are even conclusions. These are just stories of what's happening in the news. All of these. Donald Trump's long embrace of Vladimir Putin. Okay, well, how could that be fake news? Donald Trump has been a friend of Putin for decades. The Russians claim that Donald Trump has been an asset for decades. When the Russian mafia was raided by the FBI and taken down, you know where they raided? Trump Tower, because the Russian mafia was housed in Trump Tower. So is that fake news? No. If you can keep it, Donald Trump in the future of press freedom. They're quoting Donald Trump. They're quoting Donald Trump right there. So is that fake news? How about this one from PBS? Democracy on Trial, Part 1, a blueprint for the case against Trump. They're reporting on the case against Trump. The people, what is in an election, you would want to show what's the case for Trump, what's the case against Trump. This is the case against Trump. Journalist investigating Trump and Russia says full picture is one of collusion. Okay, so that's reporting. That's them reporting on what a journalist said, not fake news. Do you see what all this is? This is Republicans holding a hearing, and their evidence is a bunch of fucking headlines that aren't concluding anything, and they just don't like. And that's where we're at now, and that's why we have angry Republicans in the chat. Because if something is reported on that doesn't go along with what Trump said, you immediately say that it is fake news. And you immediately think that it should be taken down because you are the party of no free speech. You are the party of cancellations. You are the party of cancel culture. You are the party of identity politics. You're obsessed with people's race, with their gender, with their sexuality. You're obsessed with people who have an opinion different than yours. You're obsessed with discrediting science. And when science overwhelmingly disagrees with you, then you discredit the scientists. You have no ability to critically think as a party. You take all of your opinions from one big, dumb, orange idiot who has been called by his professor the dumbest goddamn student I ever had. That's how your party operates. It is a top-down approach. Whatever Trump says, you deep throat that and then regurgitate it. That's it. And that's what they're complaining about here in this hearing. I don't like it when you guys don't just say what we say, and so you can't have funding anymore.
And they're wrong about COVID-19. And the headlines in the background don't have time.
All right, they're wrong about COVID-19. As Trump pushes theory of virus origins, some see parallels in the lead up to Iraq war. Theory that COVID came from a Chinese lab takes on new life in the wake of the WHO report. They weren't wrong about COVID-19. This is where we really get fucked up. And this is one of the few times, like, it really fucking pisses me off what Republicans say. There is zero fucking zero. Count them. Of all the double-blind studies that have ever existed on the COVID-19 vaccine, there are fucking zero that concluded that you are more safe not being vaccinated than being vaccinated. There are zero, count them, zero double-blind studies that say ivermectin is an effective treatment for COVID-19. There are zero, count them again, zero double-blind studies that say hydroxychloroquine is an effective treatment for COVID-19. This is all vibes and feelings and rhetoric. You're upset that science doesn't agree with your dumbass opinions. That's it. That's what this whole hearing is about. I don't like it when science doesn't agree with us. Why doesn't science just agree with us? The Earth is 4,000 years old. I hate when science dates things. I hate when science uses double-blind studies that you can't trick. That's the whole point of a fucking double-blind study is you don't have to trust anybody. You don't have to trust you just look at the conclusions. And the data is clear. The data is clear that you should get vaccinated for COVID-19. If you don't want to get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. That's fine. But why are you holding a hearing pretending that your opinions hold up with the data? Because they don't. You guys have been, that's the problem with Republicans in general. You guys will have an opinion, all the data in the world contradicts you, and you're just so mush-brained that you're like, yeah, well, really, it's all these scientists and these doctors. They just don't like us because they don't like that Trump is changing America and that he's defunding Democrats through DOGE, and so that's why science doesn't agree with us. Nobody gives a shit. These scientists they're not political. They don't give a shit. They want to get the right conclusion. That's what makes people scientists. Nobody gets into science to be a fucking propagandist. It's full of curious people who want to solve complex problems. That's why they are in the position that they're at. That's what they enjoy doing. So why would all these people who, for their entire lives, their entire education has been spent like, we're going to solve complex problems. Suddenly, Trump's in office and they're like, you know what we're going to do now? Now we're going to lie to everybody because we just dislike Donald Trump so much that we're going to lie to everybody and we're going to let them take this vaccine that's going to kill him. Your conspiracy theories rely on like the dumbest possible scenario. Like it doesn't happen. It couldn't happen. Don't be fucking dumb, James Comer.
Time to go over all these headlines that are wrong about Russian collusion. Wrong.
Wrong. There were only 34 indictments and only 5 members of Trump's team pled guilty to colluding with Russia. But you guys had the audacity to say Trump's team colluded with Russia. Wrong. Wrong. Why'd they plead guilty? What the fuck happened there? Why were there 34 indictments? Why did members of Trump's team plead guilty? Well, they were tricked too. They pled guilty because at the time they thought they were guilty because they did it. But then later on, Trump told them, you didn't do that. And they're like, oh, fuck, I guess I didn't do it. Wrong. Everything he's arguing here, literally, he's wrong about. 100% Donald Trump's campaign colluded with Cambridge Analytica and Russia. The FBI confirms it. The CIA confirms it. Members of Trump's team confirm it. That people literally went to jail for it. And they're still up here. Dumbasses like James Comer still sit up there and go, wrong, wrong. And none of you even figure it out because none of you have bothered to check this out for yourselves. You just believe the bullshit that old farmer boy here is spewing. Why? Because you're incentivized to believe Trump. And it's a game for you. Like you guys have all set him up on this pedestal as a god. And so anything that criticizes Donald Trump, wrong.
Wrong. About the Hunter Biden laptop. Wrong.
Wrong about the Hunter Biden laptop. When they put out an email, 51 intelligence agents, they put out an email and they said that we cannot confirm the contents of this laptop because we don't have a hard drive because only Rudy Giuliani is a source, and so we can't confirm if this stuff is real or not. But I lie to you every day because I'm James Comer and I just take my direction from Donald Trump. So I tell all my Republican constituents that what that letter said is that the laptop didn't exist. But if you read the fucking letter, nowhere on the letter does it say the laptop doesn't exist. In fact, it confirms that the laptop does exist. Wrong. How do you guys get led by the dumbest fucking people? They literally lie to you about what the letter said. The letter confirms the laptop exists. All it says is, hey, Russia reported on this first. We don't have a source. The only source that the New York Post is claiming is Rudy Giuliani, who is the president's lawyer. So get a second source because this looks fishy. That's what the letter said, but that's not really like hyperbolic enough for you guys because you need to be outraged. So they tell you like, oh, they said that the laptop didn't exist, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna not read the letter and I'm gonna trust James Comer. And then 2 years later, I'm gonna be saying the same dumb shit on the internet over and over and over that they lied that the laptop existed. It's not our fault that you guys don't fucking read. Maybe you can't. We're happy to help you if you guys can't read. We got teachers here. We can work through that. We can phonetically. We can take care of that. But like this is a sitting member of Congress, and he's either lying or he's a fucking idiot. And there's no real in between there because everything he just said isn't true. So he's either lying to you or he's dumb. Either way, it's not going to change anything for so many Republicans. They're just like, that's okay. That's okay. You're only saying that because you're a lib and you hate Trump. You got TDS. You got that Trump derangement syndrome that means that when you're presented with facts that prove that Trump is wrong, you believe the facts because you got that Trump derangement syndrome. Thank you, Mary, for the super chat.
Here's a story about me. And part of what we went through on this committee.
Hey, Howdy said they are the party of hate, lies, and cruelty. Yeah.
During the Biden investigation, which, by the way, ended with Joe Biden's last act as president of the United States, pardoned his entire family preemptively for an 11-year period, which just so happened to be the 11-year period that this committee investigated the Bidens that we had.
And I'm going to leave out the part where our committee investigated the Bidens for 4 years, and we couldn't even tell you a crime that they committed. And when we were asked repeatedly, what crime did Joe Biden commit? We said, I don't know. And when we said, what crime did Hunter Biden commit? We said, I don't know, but we sure as shit investigated it for 3 years. We never brought impeachment charges. We never brought legal charges. We didn't even give the Department of Justice a heads up and say like, hey, you might want to file charges. They couldn't even figure out what the fuck crime they were investigating. And then they're like, I can't believe Joe Biden pardoned his son when it's very clear that despite the evidence, we will continue to investigate this motherfucker until the cows come home. I can't believe he pardoned his son. Why didn't you file charges then? Why didn't you file articles of impeachment then, Republicans? This is how easy it is to dupe you. They tell you that there were crimes committed. They can't tell you the crime. They tell you he should have been impeached. They don't file articles of impeachment. What are we doing here, Republicans? Be so much better than this. If you can disagree with the politics, my politics all you want, but you deserve better than these fucking morons. And you got to stop repeating lies of dumb people. Don't do it. It makes you look silly. It makes our country look silly. I'm tired of the world laughing at us because we got people like James Comer in real positions of power.
Subpoenaed bank records. I don't think NPR reported about the pardons, but they reported a lot about how the...
Watch this. I didn't even check this. NPR, Biden pardons. Let's see. Oh my God! Here's the NPR articles. Look, I don't think NPR reported about that. NPR, what's an auto pen and does it void Biden's pardons? Biden issues 2,500 commutations and sets a record. What Biden's preemptive pardons for family members mean? Biden pardons Fauci, Milley, and members of the January 6th panel. Biden commutes sentences for 1,500 people. Some people say whatever, that's going to be the opposite position. Biden pardons Virginia House Speaker Don Scott. What's next in Biden's pardons? President Biden pardons Fauci, Milley, and members of Janssen. All you had to do is Google it. This is the problem. Like, caught in a fucking lie right there. It could have taken his staff 12 seconds to fucking Google this. And it said, well, they didn't even report on it. And you guys are going to go out there and you're going to say the same shit. How come the NPR doesn't report on this? They do. That's why NPR is a legitimate news source, and you guys discredit them because you don't fucking read, and you don't ever look into any of this shit. So you got this bloated dumbass here lying to you, and you don't care. They're trying to defund somebody that, it appears, is saying exactly what he's saying. They're reporting on exactly what he's saying. And he's like, you didn't even report on that. Do you see the game they're playing? Their job is just to keep you outraged and filled with lies so that you go out there and you stay pissed off. And you defund people like NPR. And the real reason they don't want NPR to exist is because NPR is reputable, they're respected, and they report accurately. So all these headlines here that he doesn't like, that's just NPR reporting accurately. That's why he doesn't like them. That's why he's not showing any of these headlines that criticize Biden, because it doesn't go along with the narrative that he and this merry band of dumbass bots that we have here are going, how come you guys never talk about Biden? How come nobody reports on Biden? Fucking everybody reported on this. Everybody reported on the Biden pardons. CNN, MSNBC, Politico, The Atlantic, NPR, all these outlets that you claim never report this shit, every one of them reported it.
There was no evidence of any wrongdoing and things that just weren't true. In fact, there's a story, NPR, lawmaker leading Hunter Biden House investigation accused of owning a shell company.
Yeah, he was accused by Jared Moskowitz of owning a shell company. That's an accurate headline. It would be misinformation if they said lawmaker leading the Hunter Biden investigation has shell companies, uses shell companies to hide finances. No, they're reporting on what happened that day. We covered this clip. I showed this clip on the show. That's how I know which one he's talking about. Jared Moskowitz said, you have shell companies. And the whole point of that was to say that their evidence against Hunter Biden was so flimsy that they call everything that has an LLC next to it a shell company. And Moskowitz is like, wait a minute, James Comer. If we're calling everything with an LLC next to it a shell company, can you explain your LLCs? Why are those not shell companies? That's an accurate fucking headline. And he's up here bitching about it like it's a problem. That's an accurate headline. That is what happened that day in Congress. The lawmaker who was leading the committee was accused by another person of having shell companies. That's actually what happened. That happened that day. Do you see how thin-skinned these Republicans are? Do you see how far they will go to lie? Do you see how they are so far removed from reality that when somebody reports on something that absolutely happened, they're like, fake news, this didn't happen. Oh, you just don't want them to report on what happened now? It's embarrassing. You guys every Republican in here should be hiding. I can't believe any of you are still commenting. You should all have a pillow over your head like, oh my God, how did this happen? How did we let an idiot get up here and make our case for us? This is so stupid.
Well, that's me. Miss
Well,
Matt,
that's me.
are you familiar with that story that NPR wrote about me at the height of the Biden investigation when you all were disputing every aspect of our investigation that is 100% factual? We have hundreds of pages of evidence, hundreds of pages of bank records.
0 charges, 0 articles of impeachment. Yes, you have hundreds of pages of stuff, but your conclusion was wrong. You couldn't even charge them with a crime. You tried. For 4 years, you tried to charge Joe Biden with a crime. Yeah, you can have 1 trillion pages of information. None of it showed that Joe Biden committed a crime. If he did, why didn't they charge him? Why were there no articles of impeachment filed? Why? They were waiting. For what? It was so obvious that he committed a crime. Why didn't you do it?
Hundreds of pages of emails. Do you remember the story that NPR wrote about me saying I had a shell company?
And again, that's not what the headline said. NPR wrote a story that said someone else accused him during a congressional hearing of having a shell company, and that happened. See how he spins it? The baby back bitchness of Republicans. You wrote a story about me having shell companies? No, bitch. Can you read? Can you read, James Comer? Can you comprehend the words after you read them? That's not what the fucking headline said. It said that Moskowitz accused you of something. That's the story. That happened. It's real.
Congressman, I was not at NPR at the time, and I'm unfamiliar with the story.
Where do you get your sources on something like that? That's a very serious...
Tanya, have some courage then, Tanya. Come up here. Correct me. Correct me where I'm wrong. Show me all this information. Show me one thing I've said about James Comer so far that was wrong. Correct me on it. Happy to do it.
This accusation because we're investigating...
I've been to a push pop. I've been to a strip club exactly 1 time in my entire life. Strip clubs are not for me. But even if I did go to strip clubs all the time, I think that people who enjoy strip clubs should go to strip clubs all the time. I think I'm pro strip clubs, just not for me.
a president and his family who had 28 shell companies. I have an LLC, had 5 properties in it. It's in my financial disclosure form. I've gone into great detail, given lots of interviews, but people that listen to NPR, they're totally disinformed on the truth.
Except for all of that was true.
And you know, I have a problem with that because you get federal funds. And I do believe there was a role for public radio 30 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. But because of technology today, I don't think there's a role for public radio anymore. And I think you've abused the privilege that you had with receiving federal funds. Because these headlines here are not true. This is disinformation on some huge...
I'm going to settle down now. None of it, not one single headline was untrue. Every one of those headlines was factually accurate. He's dumb or he's lying. Which one is it?
Huge topics. Do you want to dispute anything that I said in the remaining 30 seconds?
I do.
Thank you, Congressman. First of all, I want to recognize your concerns. One of the first things that I did in coming in May was to beef up our editorial standards.
Okay, wait. This is my favorite part of this hearing. And I just want you to know that I might have felt bad about calling James Comer a fucking moron like 20 times, despite the fact that his reading comprehension is poor. James Comer is about to show everybody he doesn't know what words mean. And so he's going to get triggered because he's stupid right now. So just preparing you. The reason James Comer is about to get upset is because he's stupid and he doesn't know what words mean.
Anything that I said in the remaining 30 seconds?
Thank you, Congressman. First of all, I want to recognize your concerns. One of the first things that I did in coming in May was to beef up our editorial standards. I directed my editor-in-chief, who, by the way,
Why is NPR even doing editorials?
I'm so sorry.
Even do editorials?
I don't mean editorial in terms of opinion editorial.
Do you even need opinion? What does it matter with opinion? If you're a federally funded entity that's supposed to provide the news, can you not provide the news? Fair and balanced?
Of course, Congressman. I mean editorial standards for our journalism was to be...
She's talking about editors. He doesn't know what words mean. He hears editorial. He thinks about the Washington Post editorial board, and then he's just and their decisions to endorse, I think. And then he's like, why are you even doing opinion? We're talking about people who edit articles and make sure that factually they're accurate. You overgrown sweet potato.
Beef up our editorial practices, bringing in...
James Comer's not a billionaire. I don't know if you're talking about that, but...
More editors to make sure that we have more points of view reflected in every story. I've engaged in a number of actions trying to address
and my
some of
time's
these
expired.
concerns.
I've lost confidence in public radio. I don't think, Madam Chair, they should get a penny of federal funds.
Yeah, because I just showed you. I used all 5 of my minutes to show you a bunch of fucking headlines that prove that they report accurately, and so they should get funds. We need more Fox Newses out there. I'm tired of people who report accurately about my dumb ass, and so they shouldn't get a single dollar in federal funds. Despite all of that, despite how stupid James Comer is, just remember this is what Republicans are choosing to do with their time right now. Nothing for you, Republicans. They're not doing anything for you. They're just relitigating the past. They're bringing in headlines that are all true and trying to convince you that everybody's against you. Everybody who doesn't toe the line of the Republican talking points is just against you. That's what your tax dollars are doing right now. This is what your tax dollars did for us today. They gave Republicans hours of time to try and defund NPR for reasons that they can't even explain themselves. Melissa says, I'm stealing overgrown sweet potato. You can have it. You can have it. That's exactly what he looks like. All right. Let's go to the Signal stuff. Main story of the day. Educate yourself on the three-letter organization. Who's involved in that? Come up here and explain to us who's involved. I don't think you can answer. I don't think you guys can answer about the three-letter agencies. I don't think you guys have any fucking clue. My favorite part about Republicans is the amount of people that tell you to educate yourself, and then you ask them to explain their position, and then they're just like, I don't know. Educate yourself. You're like, well, but what is the position? I don't know. I have no idea what the position is. All right. First of all, I have to start with this. Bider sent me this. Bider's the guy that did our theme song too. So if you guys need any music stuff done, hit up Bider. This is our theme song if you've missed it. Good stuff. We'll play it again later. This Caroline Levitt impression, though, is so good.
Has made it abundantly clear that there was nothing that the administration had to do with those Signal chat screenshots that were fake news reported by The Atlantic, the failing fake news Atlantic, and the liberal media has gone too far. This administration is committed to transparency, and in that transparency, we will let you know that we are reviewing this. However, there are bigger security issues like TikTok, and then there's also the Hillary's emails that we had in the past. She made a tweet joking about it disrespectfully, as if we don't remember Hunter Biden's laptops and Joe Biden being the worst president in human history. And it is actually his fault that these things were even fabricated because he's allowed the fake news to run wild.
Is President Trump going to fire Pete Hegseth over this?
Pete Hegseth is an honorable man and will keep his job because he did not do anything wrong. There is due process. Domestic terrorists, like people who make paintings about our president that are unflattering, are the ones that we should be focused on right now.
Can we talk about Vanessa Trump and Tiger Woods?
Yes, thank you so much for that question, Washington Post. I will let you know that even though Vanessa Trump is no longer legally married into the Trump family, we are excited that she's brought in a wonderful family member for now, hopefully. Tiger Woods and her have started a courtship, and we wish them the best of success. No further questions as we have to go and review Hillary's servers.
She's got the cadence down. I think Hillary just said something like, we can find it. It's something like, "Oh, good Lord," or something. What did she say? Let's see what her tweet was. Where is she? Let's see. What did she say exactly? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. That's what it was. They were all very upset that she said this. Yeah, fair game to Hillary. Fair game to Hillary. The difference between Hillary and this administration is that Hillary faced the music. Hillary went and testified, and we'll see. We'll see if these guys have the courage or the backbone to actually testify. There was some testimony, though, this morning, not from Pete Hegseth, but from other members that were on that text thread, and I want to cover that. First, just to point out, American Oversight is suing Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, saying that their messaging via Signal is in violation of the Federal Records Act. Here they say that is 44 U.S.C. 3101 and the Administrative Procedure Act 5 U.S.C. 701 to prevent the unlawful destruction of federal records and compel defendants to fulfill their legal obligations to preserve and recover federal records created through unauthorized use of Signal. So what's his name? The guy who started the chat, Waltz, he actually had scheduled these messages to delete after 4 weeks. So they're suing to protect these messages and say, like, you can't get rid of these messages. If they do delete the messages, if they do not preserve them, then they that will be in a violation of the Administrative Procedure Act. So that is that's in the works there. But let's get right into it. Here is what broke this morning from The Atlantic, from Jeffrey Goldberg. Somebody I heard yesterday, I don't know if this is true. Jen, do you want to look this up? I heard somebody yesterday say that Goldberg used to work as an IDF guard. Will you see if that's true? I I see Carissa said, please play the video I sent to Jen's DM in the Discord of how Trump voters sound. The problem, I see the video you sent. It's Family Guy, and they will copyright strike me if I play that video. So I would love to play it, but we keep getting in trouble for copyrighted stuff, so I can't play a Family Guy video there. Anyways, here's the story here today.
Hold on real fast. What do you want me to look at? Or fine.
What's his name? Goldberg. If Jeffrey Goldberg was an IDF guard.
Okay.
I just heard it yesterday, but I haven't had time to check it out. So I want to know.
The guy who wrote the article?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Here are the attack plans that Trump shared on Signal. Give you the whole story. Actually, I deleted the video, but this actually is going to look better. Did they put the actual text in here? I thought they had screenshots in here. Yeah, here they are. All right, here's the group. So here is the whatever date was. This is Michael Waltz added him to the group. Here's team establishing principles core group. Mike Waltz basically says, all you guys are on this list. I need to know who the best point of contact from your team is to coordinate with. They all list the person that they need to coordinate with, except for Goldberg, who just remains quiet. Nobody seems to notice that. Then they talk about their plan. We covered most of this stuff yesterday. You have J.D. Vance here saying, I'm out for the day. I think we're making a mistake. 3% of U.S. trade runs through the Suez Canal. 40% of European trade does. This is a real risk that the public doesn't understand this or why it's necessary. The strongest reason to do this, as POTUS said, is to send a message. Just to be clear, we're dropping bombs. We're murdering people to send a message. And I feel like some of this stuff is not being reported because people are so excited to see members of the Trump team get in trouble that I think we're ignoring some of the actual stuff that's in these messages that are scary. This type of messaging is exactly what dragged us into Iraq and Afghanistan. We got to be strong. We got to send a message. We got to, it's important for us to scare everybody off, despite the fact that like what's actually happening in the Suez Canal isn't really affecting us that much. It is affecting the Europeans, so we'll just go ahead and we'll bomb the fuck out of them anyways, even though it's not affecting us that much. But I'm not sure how the president is. I'm not sure. This is J.D. Vance doubting Trump. I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There's a further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. Oh, no. I know we want to kill a bunch of people. I know everybody on this thread wants to kill a bunch of evil I wouldn't say evil, a bunch of people. They said evil people. But think about it. Like, what about our messaging that Europe is a bunch of dipshits? Or what about oil prices? Think about that. Don't think about the innocent lives that are going to be lost here. Think about, and by the way, many innocent lives were lost. Think about oil prices. I'm willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself. He's not going to address that with Trump. But there is a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters and seeing where the economy is. We got to poll the American people to see if it's going to be okay if we just, because we said no new wars and we said like peace through strength. We said all these things and now we're just going to go do a bunch of airstrikes. I don't know. Maybe we ought to crowdsource this messaging here. There's Joe Kent. Joe Kent says, there's nothing time sensitive driving this timeline. We don't have to do it right now. We'll have the exact same options in a month. There's no reason to do this now. John Ratcliffe says, from the CIA perspective, we're mobilizing assets to support now, but a delay would not negatively impact us. An additional time would be used to identify better starting points for coverage on Houthi leadership. They're all saying delay it. It doesn't matter. Like, we don't really need to do this. How about everybody? John Ratcliffe, J.D. Vance, Joe Kent. We should all just delay this. Why do we need to do it now? And then Pete Hegg says, like, I'm trying to fucking murder people. I understand your concerns. Fuck Europe, basically. I understand your concerns and fully support you raising with POTUS important considerations, most of which are tough to know how they play out. Economy, Ukraine, peace, Gaza, etc. I think messaging is going to be tough no matter what. Nobody knows who the Houthis are, which is why we need to stay focused on, one, it's Biden's fault, and two, Iran funds them. So they're all like, look, I don't really know why we're doing this, and we can wait, and it's not really going to accomplish anything, so we can move the timeline back. And he's like, wait, but hold on. What about me? I want to murder some people. And by the way, we can get away with it because we can just say this is Biden's fault and Iran funded it. Waiting a few weeks or months does not fundamentally change the calculus. This is Pete Hegseth. We don't have to do this right now. It doesn't change shit. There's two immediate risks. One, that this leaks. Whoops. Whoops. And we look indecisive. Well, now you look incompetent. Or two, Israel takes an action first, or Gaza ceasefire falls apart, and we don't get to start this on our own terms. What if Israel bombs them first and we don't get to bomb them? I want to bomb them. Guys, I really, really, really want to bomb Yemen. And if Israel gets to do it first, I don't get to drop any bombs. Have you considered that I really want this? That it's really important to me that we get to do this. I know it doesn't matter if we don't do it. I know it doesn't matter if we push it back. I know none of this shit matters. But have you thought about the fact that I really want to do it? We're prepared to execute, and if I had final go or no go vote, I believe we should. It's not even about the Houthis. It's not even about them. We're going to bomb them, but it's not about them. I see it as two things. Restoring freedom of navigation. I'm very concerned about freedom of navigation for our ships that don't really affect us that much. A core national interest. And two, reestablish deterrence, which, again, make sure to link Biden in. Biden fucked this up. We have to fuck people up. We have to bomb people because Joe Biden didn't. I don't know. Doesn't seem like good reasons to try and start a war here. But we can easily pause, and if we do, I will do all we can to enforce 100% operational security. I welcome other thoughts. Yeah, guys, I know. Look, I understand. This is what I want. I want to bomb people, but it doesn't matter. If we don't, it's fine. It's not going to change anything. I'll make sure that everything works out. Mike Waltz finally piped said, he's like, well, it could be 15% of global and 30% of container. I'm not really sure. It's hard to figure out the specific impact to U.S. trade on this. So he's like, yeah, we don't really know, but because we don't really know, maybe we should just bomb them anyways. Maybe since we're not really sure, we should just fucking bomb them. As we stated in the first PC, we have a fundamental decision of allowing the sea lanes to remain closed or to reopen them now or later. We are the only ones with the capability, unfortunately. That's correct. And the way that you open those sea lanes is you go to Israel and you say, hey, stop blockading aid to the Palestinians and the Houthis will stop attacking ships. But instead of doing that, instead of the peace through strength, and fine, threaten the Houthis, or threaten them. Threaten Israel. Say, Israel, if you don't stop blockading aid to the Palestinians, then we're gonna drop your aid, or maybe we'll bomb you. Maybe we go after Netanyahu for a minute. But instead of doing that, instead of de-escalating, instead of solving the actual problem as to why the Houthis are bombing these ships, they don't want to tell you the truth. They want to tell you that they're bombing these ships because they hate America. No, they're bombing the ships because Israel won't let aid in, and so they're like, fuck it. If you're not going to let aid in for the Palestinians, nothing's coming in. That's the game they're playing. And instead of just fixing that problem like a normal person would do, we got a bunch of people jacking off to the idea of more bombs. Remember, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, is on the record of saying, yes, let's go to Iraq. Yes, let's go to Afghanistan. And Donald Trump is on the record of saying going to Iraq and Afghanistan were a massive mistake, and it's the legacy of the Bush administration, which is why you should not vote for Jeb Bush. I would never put us into wars. I would never just bomb people indiscriminately. Pete Hegseth is a war hawk. He wants to bomb the fuck out of people. And we're watching in real time everybody saying, we don't need to do this, and him saying, we don't need to do this, but I'm gonna. I think that's the part that like maybe we're missing here. Yes, this should not happen on Signal. Yes, it was a catastrophic fuck up to allow a journalist on these messages, but more importantly, they didn't need to do these bombings, and they only did it because Pete Hegseth has a hard-on for bombing people, because he's a fucking psycho. Remember Pete Hegseth? Remember drunk Pete Hegseth chanting, kill all Muslims? Remember that? That's a story. That's a real thing that happened. Pete Hegseth, while running a charity, got so drunk at a bar, he started chanting, kill all Muslims, and now he's just killing Muslims, just for the hell of it. He's showing here, there's no reason. There was no reason to do any of this shit. Well, I want to kill Muslims. Okay, I guess. Well, if Pete wants to kill Muslims, now you have J.D. Vance. If you think we should do it, fuck it. Let's go. Let's go. I just hate bailing out Europe again. You didn't bail out Europe. All you did is bomb a bunch of people. This didn't help Europe. How did this help Europe? Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. Don't forget, the Saudis are funding us. Don't forget how much money the Saudis have given the Trump family. Remember, we need to take care of the Saudis. Most importantly is not the innocent people that are going to die when we bomb the Houthis. Most importantly is that we don't upset the Saudis because they give us a lot of money. They're very influential in this administration. This is the part that I don't understand why, like, I guess this is maybe the part of mainstream media that I would agree with the conservatives. Like, they're so obsessed right now with proving that Pete Hegseth was a bad hire, that Tulsi was a bad hire, and they want retribution against Donald Trump so badly that they are focusing on the fact that they leaked intelligence, I guess, classified intelligence, and they're leaving out the part that these motherfuckers are saying, let's just bomb the shit out of people for the hell of it. That's the part that I am frustrated with our media. Get it? I understand. We all hate Trump. I get it. But see the forest through the trees. The forest through the trees here is this administration is no different than the Bush administration. They just want to go to war. We're being dragged into a war by Israel once again. Every fucking time we go to war in the Middle East, who's dragging our asses into Israel? Or into the Middle East. It's Israel, right? Every fucking time. I don't know why we're still doing this shit. And before you guys say not classified, I'm going to gravy train. I would delete your comment if I were you. It's absolutely classified, and I'll prove it to you here in a minute. Here's Hegseth again. I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. Shut up, you dumb bitch. But Mike is correct. We're the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can do this. Nobody else even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is as good a time as any given POTUS directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. And then here's Stephen Miller. As I heard it, the president was clear. Green light. Woo. Nobody else thinks that the president gave a green light here. Stephen Miller, he wants to bomb some fuckers too. So he says the president wasn't clear. Green light. Was clear. We soon make clear to Egypt and Europe what we expect in return. Egypt and Europe didn't ask for this. It's like if you went to somebody's house and like they were just inside, and you went in and you had a tree in their front yard and you just uprooted their tree, and you're like, then you knock on the door after, you're like, hey, I got rid of that tree. I need $500. They're like, we didn't hire you you took out our tree. Why'd you take out our tree? We didn't ask for that. But that's Stephen Miller, because Stephen Miller is just like Donald Trump. They just want to extort people all the time. Stephen Miller is the most evil person in this administration, and it's not even close. He's a disgusting human being on all levels. He has no empathy. He has no sympathy. He loves violence. He loves chaos. He's a trash person. Poking said, this is this thing people need to read and actually pay attention. Johnny said, great show again. Going to restart. Thanks, Johnny. I think I got that. I might have missed Push Pop saying I deserve an Oscar. I appreciate that. Guys, if you could, you know me, with my ADHD, I get into it, and I forget to make announcements. I keep forgetting. I always forget to say that we're crowdfunded, and we do rely on your donations to keep this going. Please help us knock out this goal. I'll go scorched earth for the rest of the show, but please help us knock out the goal, and I'll try and update it every few minutes. But we are a little ways away from that goal. All right, here's Pete Hegseth agreeing with the human slime ball, Stephen Miller. I agree. And now here's the classified information. Here's Pete Hegseth. Now, this is the part that we didn't see yesterday. And this is the part that, frankly, Goldberg was like, I don't know if I'm going to release this because it's classified. Here it is. Here is Hegseth updating. Time now, 11:45 Eastern. Weather is favorable. Just confirmed with Central Command. We are a go for mission launch. At 12:15, the FT-18s will launch. First strike package. 1:45 or 13:40. I guess we can do their military time. 13:45, trigger-based. F-18, first strike window starts. Target terrorist is at his known location, so should be on time. By the way, that known location was an apartment building with other innocent people in the apartment building. They killed innocent people. Again, didn't need to do it. Nobody thinks that we needed to do these bombings. Nobody thinks it needed to be done now or ever, but they did it anyways. And they did it, and they killed a bunch of innocent people. Cool. This is the shit we need to talk about. Also, strike drones launch MQ-9s. This is all classified information. Giving information about a strike that is about to happen is classified information. There's no question about this. There's no workaround here. Sully said, love y'all. Thanks, Sully. More 1410, more F-18s launched, second strike package. 1415, strike drones on target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop pending earlier trigger-based targets. 1536, F-18 second strike starts. Also, first sea-based Tomahawks launched. More to follow per timeline. We're currently clean on OPSEC. Godspeed to our warriors. Look, there's just something disgusting about invoking God when you're about to go murder a bunch of innocent people. This is the part of Christianity and the right that I fucking hate. If you're gonna be dirtbags, fine, but this allusion to God, as if God would want you to drone strike a fucking apartment building that has innocent people in it because your trade routes were being held up. Jesus notoriously was like, turn the other cheek, unless they're not letting your goods pass through the canal, in which case, no, don't only kill them, kill innocent people too. That's the most important thing to Jesus. It's most important to Jesus that trade comes through the Suez Canal. It's not really that important that innocent people stay alive, because trade, everybody knows Jesus was a dirty, dirty capitalist and not a communist in every single imaginable way. Jesus, the communist, is very on board with this. Jesus is like, yes, Godspeed to our warriors. And by the way, our warriors, they're flying planes. They're untouchable. You didn't have people in harm's way. Now, they'll talk about it a little bit here momentarily. I've got some clips of them talking about exactly what type of equipment this is and how potentially the Houthis have some anti-aircraft weapons, but ultimately their anti-aircraft weapons were outdated for what we were doing here. And then J.D. Vance, I will say a prayer for victory. Two people, I'm also praying. Dear Jesus, dear Lord Jesus, please bless our soldiers as they go and kill innocent people because we can't get our trade route through the Suez Canal. We love you. We love Trump. You love Trump. MAGA 2028. Go Trump. Fuck Joe Biden. Amen. You think Jesus is like, hell yeah, guys? Get after it. Oh, thanks for that prayer, JD. Thanks for that prayer about you going. And by the way, thanks for that prayer because you're going to go murder people that look an awful lot like me. These are the people. This is the bloodline of Jesus. These people look a hell of a lot more like Jesus than we do. Yeah, but Jesus, they didn't allow some trade ships to come through. Well, fuck them, said Jesus. Pokey said it's sickening they use God as their scapegoat when everything they stand for goes against it in their precious Bible. God would hate this. Yeah, if God's real, he's not on board with this. And every Christian who says otherwise you're fooling yourself. A VP, building collapsed, multiple positive ID. Pete Carilla, the IC, amazing job. Hey, the building collapsed, the whole thing, that apartment complex where we were trying to kill one person. Great news. The apartment complex is gone now. People don't have a home. Innocent people are dead. Prayers are answered. JD Vance, what? Typing too fast. The first target, their top missile guy. We had positive ID of him walking into his girlfriend's building, and it's now collapsed. Oh, how did it collapse? It just fell down? Oh, you bombed the fuck out of it. Excellent. Mike Waltz. Yeah, hell yeah, America. Fire. Fire. Good job, Pete, your team. The team in Mal did a great job as well. Great work, all. Powerful start, said Stephen. A start? Powerful start, yeah. CENTCOM was and is on point. Great job, all. More strikes ongoing for hours tonight. Don't worry. If you thought we were only killing some innocent people, we got more innocent people that are going to die tonight. Kudos to all, most particularly those in theater and CENTCOM. Really great. God bless. Oh, prayers, strong, America. Great work and effects. And this is just proof that they're in it. Here's the members there. And there's also the part that says, where's the part that says disappearing messages 1 week? I think at one point there was a part that said the disappearing messages would be 4 weeks away. So I just want to be clear that, yeah, these people absolutely took classified information and made it available to our enemies. But more importantly, they were celebrating and invoking the name of God in murdering innocent people. And that's the part that I wish our media would wake the fuck up and actually report. This is every bit as bad. This is Dick Cheney. You guys ran Liz Cheney out of the party, and then you're like, you know what we ought to do now that Liz Cheney isn't here? We ought to do exactly what her dad would have done. Just bomb the fuck out of innocent people. Let's just, who cares if people live or die? Who cares at all? Let me catch up on messages real quick. What was that? Sorry, it's taking a second to load. Amanda said, fuck Elon, save Elmo. Thank you. All right. I think, let's see. 7, 5, I think I got that. All right. All right, we got an hour left. Let's see if we knock out that gift goal today. We got a whole bunch of clips now to play. First, this was Trump trying to explain it this morning, and I'm only playing this to be petty. For everybody who ever criticized Joe Biden's ability to speak, I want you to listen to Trump this morning, incoherently mumbling.
Secretary of Defense Hegseth is referring to known targets, but he doesn't say what the targets are. He just generically refers to them. Those don't sound like detailed war plans.
No, and there weren't details, and there was nothing in there that compromised, and it had no impact on the attack, which was very successful. It was a very, very successful attack. Then it's an attack that Biden should have done 3 years ago, but he didn't do it.
Biden should have done this attack 3 years ago. When did the Houthis start closing the canal? Recently. It wasn't 3 years ago. This guy's lost it. He's lost his fucking mind. He didn't put his teeth in this morning either. But his understanding, like the craziest part about all of this, honestly, is that he doesn't understand any of it. He has no clue. These plans were all taking place. He wasn't even part of the planning. The next day when he was asked about it, he's like, I don't know. What are you? I don't even know what you're talking about. For everybody who said like we had some sort of like shadow presidency with Biden, fine. But this guy, he doesn't even know what happened. He has no clue what happened. How did we launch an attack without him understanding any of the details? How'd that happen?
Because it would have been a lot easier 3 years ago. But we're having very good luck on the attack. It's an attack that has continued.
Yeah.
But just thing like that, maybe Goldberg found a way. Maybe there's a staffer. Maybe there's a very innocent staffer. But I think we'll get to the bottom of it very quickly, and it's really not a big deal.
Yeah. On the foreign policy front, you mentioned all these strikes. Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, he has no clue. I love that Canada's cool. Common Trump W. He doesn't know that an attack happened. That's a common W. Just say that you want to jack him off. It's fine. Just say that no matter what, he could shit on your face and you'd be like, common Trump W. I love that. Smear it around a little more for me, Donnie. You watch that, call it a Trump W. That's crazy. Here's Steve Bannon with Jack Posobiec. I mentioned this earlier. Listen to them talk about what's going on here. Even they, like, Steve Bannon and Jack Posobiec are on my side now. How do you deal with that, Republicans? Like Jack Posobiec's going to say the exact same thing I did
about this entire thing. They randomly selected the judge in Washington, D.C., and it's Judge Boasberg. We told you this is a pincer move between the deep state and the judicial insurrection. Now Boasberg is the connective link. We told you, wait till it gets into court. They're already trying to get it to court. Boasberg's taken on. They're going to have, I think, emergency hearing.
They're talking about the lawsuit pending, saying that they leaked classified documents. And it was assigned to Boasberg. And of course, they're going to call it a deep state practice. No matter who it was assigned to, they were just going to call it deep state.
This afternoon or tomorrow on this, Jack. This is a pincer move against the Trump administration. That's why they have to hunker down today. They're doing the opening statements, but we're going to get into the questioning. We'll handle the Democrats. Given the information, Jack, that you saw, let's call balls and strikes, the information that you saw, and assume right now it's correct. I'm sure it's already been verified. On the information that was on the text, was that information classified into your perspective as a naval intelligence officer?
Well, if
Well, I'll put it this way. If I was in the intel community, I wouldn't be sharing that information over open comms.
Oh, weird. David says, no right-wing podcaster would ever be allowed to spew lies like this RTP kid. This is one of the biggest right-wing podcasters. His name is Steve Bannon. This is one of the other biggest right-wing podcasters named Jack Posobiec, and they're saying the exact same thing I did. So if I'm lying, which I'm not, then they're also lying, and they're allowed to say the same thing I am. Weird, huh?
Operational stuff that I've always seen has always been at the secret level. I've never done work with operational information like that. That would be on a Gensor server or on anything unclassified, anything open source. Now, obviously, the Secretary of Defense has some originator classification authority for those operations. And so he has the ability to declassify various things if he wants to.
Which he didn't do.
And so the issue here, Steve, is for the average person at home watching this, trying to figure out what's going on. They're going to say, that looks like information that I wouldn't want to see up on Twitter, Telegram, or anywhere else. Why? Because the average American does actually care about the MAGA soldiers, the MAGA troops that are out there, the sailors, the pilots, etc.
That's weird that he said, like, they don't care. The average American cares about the MAGA troops. They don't care about the troops that aren't MAGA, by the way. I thought it was a weird way that he said that.
And by the way, these guys, these Democrats, they don't care. These are the guys who got the 13 killed at Abbey Gate, and Joe Biden couldn't even show up without staring at his watch the whole time and claimed that it didn't happen, and all the rest of it completely sold them out. They don't care. They don't care at all. This is a drama act. What you're seeing is theater kids. This is the theater kid occupied government, and you got the congressman up there. Oh, I'm so upset. I'm so tired. He's going for his Oscar.
It's exactly what I just said. It's exactly what I just said. The Democrats are missing the forest through the trees. They're up there. They're being performative about all the wrong things. He's saying the exact same shit I did. And we got Republicans in here that are like, yeah, dude, this guy knows. He's saying what I said. You just don't believe me because I'm a Democrat. And that's what TDS is. TDS is when I say the same exact thing that he says, and you believe him, but you don't believe me. And we're saying the same thing. And you still haven't figured out that he and I are actually saying the exact same thing. That's TDS. I'm calling balls and strikes here. I'm saying the Democrats are handling this incorrectly. I'm saying the hysteria is over the wrong thing, just like he is saying the exact same thing. But yeah. No, I got TDS, not you.
Yeah. I guess he heard.
Why did I say innocent people died? Because people died that had nothing to do with the Houthis. That's why.
That Snow White collapsed at the box office, so he's thinking he can get up there for Best Actress.
Yeah, that's why I said that. I know that you recognize that anybody. I know you probably think that anybody just like around a terrorist is a terrorist and deserves to die. But yeah, that's why I said it. You don't think innocent people died? Nobody. 54 people died to get one guy. All 54 of those people were terrorists. Okay. Justify it all you want. Like sorry, I'm saying the same thing that your right wingers are. You want to see another right winger agree with me? Here's another right winger that agrees with me. Somebody who openly took a risk. So look, my audience hates this guy. This guy took a bit of a risk to endorse Trump. It's paid off for him. Let's see if he agrees with me. Is this a left winger here? Back to back, I got the far right covered. I've got the far right, Steve Bannon and Jack Posobiec, the two of the most far right commentators. Now I've got more like a middle right, but a massive Trump supporter here. See if he agrees with me.
All right, incoming political rant. If you don't like political rants, keep it moving. I don't blame you. This Houthis signal group chat, the Atlantic controversy. I'll try to catch you up real quick. So basically the U.S. launched an attack on the Houthis a couple days ago, terrorist group, successful attack, killed a bunch of them, very successful by all nature, opened up like the passageway for ships and cargo ships that were being terrorized, so successful attack. Well, comes out after the fact that Jeffrey Goldberg, who's the editor of The Atlantic. The Atlantic is a magazine that basically hates Trump, hates the left, hates people like me. Think Business Insider, think New York Times, think New York Magazine, all the heavy left-leaning media organizations.
Muted.
Oh, we did it finally. Finally, that was like 4 days without a strike. All right, Canada's cool. We're talking about the total number of people killed since like March 17th, which is 53. 53 people confirmed killed that were not part of terrorist organizations in Yemen. And that's these same people. So we're talking about all of those people that were killed. We don't have the numbers yet from the strikes yesterday. The AP so far, I think, has 2 confirmed kills, I think is what they've confirmed. We're still waiting on that number. But there were strikes before this. And it goes to show that this administration loves to kill innocent people. That's why I said innocent people died.
Organizations. The Atlantic is one of them. Like, I hate them. Trump hates them. They hate Trump. They probably hate me. So the editor, Jeffrey Goldberg, comes out after. He's like, hey, morons, you guys included me on a Signal group chat with sensitive classified information discussing the Houthis attack before it happened. Pete Hegseth's immediate reaction is like, no, that never happened. We didn't leak any classified information. No classified information in there. And Jeffrey Goldberg released all the text in the Signal group chat. And guess what? It's super sensitive. It's super classified. It's surreal.
TDS? Is this TDS here? Dave Portnoy's got TDS now too? This is TDS?
That these guys...
I think he was at the inauguration, wasn't he? He's got TDS though. Dave Portnoy does. He doesn't know either.
Added Jeffrey Goldberg to this group chat. I mean, they were talking about the attack, leading up to the attack, all the way to a couple hours, when they're going to do it, the time, the weather, you name it. And if this information somehow got out to the Houthis, and I assume in situations like this, things move at the speed of light, lots of American soldiers could have died, lives in jeopardy. So to me, a major, major, major glitch in intelligence and just a huge mistake. It looked like Michael Waltz, the national security advisor to the president, added Jeffrey Goldberg to the group chat by accident, and J.D. Vance is in it. It looks like he added him by accident. And listen, we've all texted the wrong person. We've all emailed the wrong person. We've all had somebody who shouldn't be in a group chat in our lives. We are not the Secretary of Defense. We're not the National Security Advisor. We're not the Vice President of the United States. So, yeah, mistakes happen. This one can't. Here's my biggest issue with this. And this is in politics in general. The reaction of like Pete Hegseth and President Trump has been to kind of poo-poo it. Be like, there was no classified information in there. Trump's like, you know, how did Jeffrey Goldberg get in there? Like, did he hack it? Did he get in there? He didn't stay very long. The Atlantic is a horrible organization and a terrible magazine, which they are, and I hate them. And by the way, if Jeffrey Goldberg, he didn't hack it, he got added, but if he did hack it, that's almost more dangerous than somebody like Jeffrey Goldberg. If he can hack the most sensitive group chats, what are our enemies doing?
Yeah, to Dave Portnoy with all his TDS here. Dave Portnoy, known lib, known communist Dave Portnoy here, making a whole lot of fucking sense. You know, this is one of those situations when like you just know that what happened was wrong. Like every single person that's not working for this administration is saying the same thing. This is a fuck up. This is a massive fuck up. This is absolutely classified information that was shared. It's a massive fuck. Everybody, right, left, middle, frat boy, sports. Everybody says this is a massive fuck up.
Trump, I get being loyal to your people. I don't like firing people on innocent mistakes that they make. But this, and I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, you're mad about this, but we had a president like Biden with dementia who had the nuclear codes. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. That wasn't right then, and this isn't right now. In this new administration, you want to take accountability. Trump, you may love Michael Waltz. You love Pete Hegseth. You may love these guys.
I like how he keeps calling him Pete Hegseth. I do like that.
Somebody has to go down. To me, it's Michael Waltz. He's the one who added him to this conversation. But you can't have the top of the top security people in the United States with the most sensitive.
David, 53, dude. I've already given you that source. If you think that all 53 of those people that have died in the airstrikes were members of the Houthis, go ahead, send me some information. I've answered that question like 10 times already. This is the last time you're getting an answer.
Of information in the world, adding random editors of a magazine that hates Trump's guts to a group chat talking about an attack before it happens on a terrorist group. You can't poo-poo it. You can't downplay it. You have to sit up there and be like, holy shit, this is a fuck up of epic proportions. There will be accountability. I will get to the bottom of this. And frankly, I think I don't like calling for people's heads. Michael Waltz, it seems like you're the guy who added him to the group chat. You have to lose your job. You should step down. You cannot be adding random people to a group chat with this sensitive, classified information. Just be like, oh, no, poo-poo. It's on him. He should have left the group chat instantly.
Let me just say this about Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy is the majority of Trump supporters. Dave Portnoy is the majority of MAGA. He liked a lot of the same stuff you did, but Dave Portnoy, for everything you might say about Dave Portnoy, like, truly, when he believes something, he stands on it. I've seen him do it. Like, he's been accused of some pretty awful things, and I've seen multiple times reporters that accused him of things, and he confronted them, and he was right. They did lie about it. I understand why Dave Portnoy hates left-wing media, because he keeps getting hit with gossip columnists from I want to say, I'm trying to remember where the one was from. I want to say it was New York Times, but I might be off on that. Sometimes he has somebody from like the wrong part of the newspaper, and they come out and they just believe somebody that tells lies about Dave Portnoy, and he confronts him and he beats him. He does this. I've seen him do it multiple times. So even when I don't agree with Dave Portnoy, what I do know about Dave Portnoy is that, like, he's not really a follower. He follows his own thoughts. And this is most of MAGA. Everybody I've talked to outside of here, even on the debates last night, like, almost everybody agrees this is a massive fuck up and somebody needs to be fired. But then we played that clip a second ago of Trump like, it was probably a low-level staffer that's innocent because he doesn't want to fire anybody. Because, again, before all things, Donald Trump is a massive pussy. He doesn't fire anybody. He has somebody else fire them, and then, like, he'll call him and be like, what? You got fired? I didn't even know you were getting fired. There's a call from Omarosa after she got fired in the first administration. There's all these people that are like, they're like, oh, Trump told me to fire Omarosa. So then they fire Omarosa, and then Trump called and she recorded it, and he's like, I didn't even know anybody was going to fire you. Oh, man, I'm going to miss you so much. This sucks. Nothing I can do about it, though. He's such an absolute coward.
This guy shouldn't have stayed in. It's on Jeffrey Goldberg for not immediately being like, hey, I should be here. No. It's on you for adding him. And this has to be something that, and this is why I hate politics, you have to stand up here and be like, what a fuck up. I will demand answers, accountability in the heads. I don't care if you're right, left. There's nothing being made up here. Jeffrey Goldberg is telling the truth. It's obvious these texts are real. It's obvious they're classified. It's obvious we gave away the strike information 2 hours before it happened. We're lucky it didn't cause the death of American military members. Somebody has to go down for this. This is a mistake. This isn't a Barstool mistake where you let an idiot hang around like Mitzi. This is a mistake that can't happen twice. It cannot happen once. So you have to make a change and show it'll never happen. And these are the top intel guys that we have in the country. Adding a rando, the editor of The Atlantic, to the most sensitive group chat in the world, somebody's got to go down. That's just the facts. You can't poo-poo this.
Thank you very much for the, where was that? Classified Savage. FYI, PSA, they were not any top secret information on the chat. First of all, Senate structure needs some work. Second of all, yes, there absolutely was. And here is the Democrats questioning. I'm trying to remember, what is his name? Well, let's see. Where is he? Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz. And they're questioning him, is this classified information? Here you go. But random YouTube chatter versus Lieutenant General, what did we say his name was? Jeffrey Cruz. Who do you guys believe? Jeffrey Cruz or random YouTube chatter? Let's see.
Terrorist is at his known location, so should be on time. Also, strike drones launch MQ-9s. MQ-9s is a weapon system, correct?
They are.
Okay. I think applying the executive order as well as the DOD manual to this fact pattern, we clearly have weapon systems that have been identified. That is classified information. Now, the reason why it's important that this information not be disclosed is that we don't want the adversaries to know what's about to happen, right, sir?
Well, I would draw a small distinction there. You referenced and asked if that platform, those two platforms are weapon systems. They are, but those terms are used all across the globe in a lot of contexts. So it's really about how they're used in the context of this particular document. I just want to clarify that the use of those terms,
I understand.
Yeah.
In this situation, those are operational details.
They are operational details, but again, as you quoted the DOD instruction, it's about operations. So as you further go down into what are the operational details, I think as we had a discussion yesterday, the important aspect, I think all of us are very familiar.
This is classified information. This is classified information. It's a weapon system as well as sequence of strikes as well as details about the operations. And so I think that just piggybacking off of what some other members have said, using the DOD's manual as well as the executive order in operation today with the Trump administration, this text message is clearly classified information.
Yeah, like if you go by the law, or if you go by the DOD standard of what is classified information and what's not, it is. But if instead of that you're just listening to Pete Hegseth, then sure, it's not classified information. It's absolutely classified information. And there's almost nobody defending this. And that's how you know that the people that are in the chat today aren't people who think for themselves. They are just messengers. They just are people who go out and they parrot shit. It hurts them to their core. It physically pains them when people criticize Donald Trump. It's part of their identity. So they take this as a personal assault on themselves. Everybody agrees it was classified information. Steve Bannon, Jack Posobiec, Dave Portnoy, our generals, our members of Congress, everybody who covers this on the news that has any understanding of what classified information is, just everybody except for like the people who fucked up. The people who fucked up are like, no, yeah, I know if you read the rules, it's classified, but I said it's not. And then the Republicans in the chat are like, he said that it's not. And if he says that it's not, then it's not. So I'm going to write PSA, FYI, these were not classified documents. Yeah, they weren't documents. It was classified information. Here's now John Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard being asked a few questions by Senator Wyden.
Potential crimes that ought to be investigated, records or potential crimes that ought to be investigated immediately. And I want to make clear that I'm of the view that there ought to be resignation, starting with the National Security Advisor and the Secretary of Defense. Director Ratcliffe and Director Gabbard, have you participated in any other group chats with senior Trump administration officials in which classified information was shared using phones that weren't cleared for such information? Question for the two of you.
Senator, thank you for the question. I haven't, your question was, have I participated in any other group chats sharing classified information? To be clear, I haven't participated in any signal group messaging that relates to any classified information at all.
Except for this one.
Okay. Director Gabbard.
Senator, I have the same answer. I have not participated in any signal group chat or any other chat on another app that contained any classified information.
Okay, I believe that was yesterday, and that's a problem because they claim that this didn't happen, and this is before we had seen the entire group chat. So for them, they go out there yesterday, and they're like, "Whew, nothing that they showed so far is classified information." So we're going to show up here and lie. Except for then the messages came out today and they were lying. And here's Tulsi Gabbard now admitting that it was a mistake, that that this reporter was added to the Signal chat that had high-level national security principles. Here's how she calls them principles now. She's not willing to say classified information because she knows if she says classified information, everybody in that room is going to realize, uh-oh, that was perjury. So now she just tries to spin her language and call them, what did she say? Classified, high-level national security principles, having a policy discussion.
In closing, I want to address briefly the Signal chat issue that I know many of you are concerned about. The President and National Security Advisor Waltz held a press conference yesterday with a clear message. It was a mistake that a reporter was inadvertently added to a Signal chat with high-level national security principles, having a policy discussion about imminent strikes against the Houthis and the effects of the strike. The National Security Advisor has taken full responsibility for this.
What? What? You did? Just by saying it was me? That's not full responsibility.
In closing, I want to address briefly the Signal chat issue that I know.
Sorry, that was the end of it. Here is, there's her saying like it was a mistake. And then here's her admitting that yesterday she didn't tell the truth.
Heinrich asked, did this conversation, referring to the Signal chat, include information on weapons, packages, targets, or timing? Director Patel, you said not that I'm aware of. Director Gabbard, you said same answer. This morning we learned that the Signal chat included the following update, forward-looking update from the Secretary of Defense. Time now, 11:44 Eastern Time. Weather is favorable. Just confirmed with CENTCOM. We are go for mission launch. 12:15 Eastern Time. F-18 launch. First strike package. 13:45 trigger-based F-18 first strike window starts. Target.
I just want to pause it there because I think it would piss Kash Patel off that it looks like Tulsi brought her son to work. Look at that. What's good? Look at the size difference there. Like, sorry guys, I couldn't find a sitter, so I had to bring my son Kash to work with me today. He brought some pretty cool prop glasses, though.
Terrorist is at his known location, so should be on time. Also, strike drones launch MQ-9s, 1410. More F-18s launch second strike package. Do either of the directors want to reflect on their testimony yesterday in the context of what I just read?
Sure. One, I was not on that Signal chat. Two, I have not reviewed it. And three, as you just indicated, that was made public this morning.
But
I wonder why Kash Patel hasn't reviewed that. It was weird. Not that he has to. It's just interesting that he would show up for this today and not review it.
Director, you didn't prior to yesterday's Senate. You were on this. You were on the Signal chat, correct?
No.
Okay, but did you review the material on the Signal chat?
No, I wasn't on it.
Director Gabbard.
Yes, Ranking Member. My answer yesterday was based on my recollection or the lack thereof on the details that were posted there. I was not, what
was that there? So now she's admitting that she was wrong. She's not admitting that she was lying. But that's the thing. If you don't remember, and you say that you do remember, that's perjury. If you said, I don't recall, I plead the fifth, that's fine. But you made a definitive statement yesterday, and now today you're like, oh, I didn't remember yesterday. This did happen nearly a week ago.
What was shared today reflects the fact that I was not directly involved with that part of the Signal chat and replied at the end reflecting the effects, the very brief effects that the National Security Advisor had shared.
No, Kash Patel wasn't on that thread. Mistake by the guy questioning. I don't know why he thought Kash Patel was on the thread, but no, Kash wasn't involved. That's called perjury. Whatever you want to do with it, it is perjury. Again, I do think that we're missing the forest through the trees in that these people, by the way, regime change war, Tulsi, we got to stop doing these regime change wars. We have to stop doing these you can go find probably 20 videos on Tulsi talking about these indiscriminate bombings that we do in Yemen and how they should stop. And now she's part of this administration where she sits back and watches it happen. She's an absolute fucking sellout. She always has been a sellout. That's why you guys can tell, like, oh, she came to our side. No, she didn't. She got ran out from our side because everybody realized that she was a liar and she was a sellout. And she used propaganda about regime change wars to make it seem like she was like the anti-war candidate, so that she could funnel in like her hardcore, like Christian nationalism views. And it turns out she didn't really give a shit about regime change wars, because she's sitting here on the text thread just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go bomb some people in Yemen. All right. Here is the just so you guys, those that are still saying that this is not classified. On the left are Pete Hegseth's instructions, or not instructions, not his I guess the plan, updating them on the plan. On the right here, you'll see CENTCOM classification guide provisions. Shows like these are the things that you cannot share. These are the things that are top secret. Date and time mission operation begins. Obviously, we have the date and the time that these mission operations are going to begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I don't know what the S or S real is appropriate. Timelines and schedules. Boom, timeline and schedule. These are classified. Concepts of operations, including order of battle execution. That's the order. Execution circumstances. We're talking about the weather that's confirmed. We're talking about people entering the target. So execution circumstances. Operating locations. Do we have operating locations in there? Let's see. I don't know if we have operating locations. Okay, so we're missing on that one. Resources required. Yeah, talking about everything that we need to do those strikes. Tactical maneuvers, yes, deployments, action, and objectives. So yeah, there's no question. Just like if you don't agree with CENTCOM, if you don't agree with everybody who works in intelligence, then sure, I guess it's not classified. If you think that Pete Hegseth saying it's not classified means it's not classified, sure, it wasn't classified. Nothing secret about these. That's right. It's easy. All right. Here's John Ossoff. Wait. Yeah. Is this the wrong clip? It's the wrong clip. Shit. Let me see if I can find this. Sorry, guys. I did a dumb thing right before we started, and I got rid of a bunch of my tags. Let me see if I can find this one. I see pictures of it. God damn it. Is this it? Give me one more second, and then if I can't find it, I'll just go on to the next one. Dang it, this one's good too. Son of a bitch.
While Jay's looking for the source, I just want to remind everybody we've got about 20 minutes left of the show. If you guys want to help knock out the rest of the gift goal, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all of that, help us knock out the remaining balance of the gift goal. Also, if you haven't subscribed on Twitch, please do so. You can use an Amazon Prime sub, a regular sub on YouTube, and we've also got 4 different memberships. Check out our merch in our link tree. And please like the stream. Also go check out some of the videos that we have posted and interact with them. Comment, like, share, all that helps support the channel as well.
I think I found it.
Found it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. Thank you, Jen.
All right. All right, one second. My friend was sad because he didn't know the lyrics to the YMCA. I said, young man, there's no need to feel down.
All right. Here's John Ossoff.
This was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
No. No, I mean, everybody says it was, but no.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No,
The
Director
answer- the
Radcliffe,
reason
I
I
asked
say
you a yes
no-
or no question, and now you hold on. A national political reporter
You can characterize it how you want.
was made privy
The White
to
House has
sensitive
made
information
clear
about
that there
imminent
was an
military
inadvertent
operations against a
mistake,
foreign terrorist
an inadvertent
organization.
mistake of adding a reporter.
And that wasn't a huge
to a
mistake?
Zoom.
That wasn't a huge mistake?
Well, I think they characterize
This is
it
an
as
embarrassment.
a mistake.
This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I mean, take some accountability. How can you not say this is a big fuck up? That's not hard to say. I don't even know why Ratcliffe is defending it. Like, he's not going to get in trouble. It wasn't his fault. He's not the one that did it. I don't know why you would defend that, other than I think all these people are just afraid to say something that's contrary to what Trump says. And Trump's like, no, it was no big deal. So they have to go out there and be like, yeah, I guess it was no big deal here. Here is Caroline Leavitt doing her dumbass spin. She'll have a lot to say here. Well, watch the spin from Republicans here. Watch them downplay all this stuff. And if I have to play the clips again of these exact same Republicans saying that what Hillary did was so awful and that she should be thrown in jail, if I have to play that again to shut up the Republicans in the chat, we can play it. But I just want you to remember that literally every single one of these people is on the record saying that what Hillary Clinton was somehow worse. Nothing they found in Hillary Clinton's emails were top secret. Nothing included plans for bombing. Nothing. None of this was strategic planning. None of it. It was basic, like, low-level classified stuff.
And there is nothing better. The Democrats, there's nothing that they're better at than spinning a sensationalist story out of a basic set of facts. And the president and our team have been incredibly transparent about what happened. No classified information was shared in this group chat. But the Democrats would have you believe we have a national security crisis on our hands when we absolutely do not. It's the same playbook they ran with the Russia hoax, which was a
national security fucking nightmare, that a Russian asset won the presidency. Nobody cared. The people on his team pled guilty. He absolutely, his team absolutely colluded with Russia in order to affect the election. And Americans were like, fuck it. We can't pretend. It was a national security concern, just Americans didn't care. That's what happened. You can't tell us that it didn't happen. It happened.
The perfect phone call between President Trump and President Zelensky at the time, which they spiraled into a hoax, and then an impeachment, which President Trump was later acquitted of, and that story was later...
You don't get acquitted. You don't get acquitted. That's not how this works. Was it not acquitted?
They did this with the classified documents hoax when President Trump had the legal authority to retain those documents.
No, he didn't. You can't retain documents that NARA requests. NARA has the authority to request those documents
under the Presidential Records Act, and they had you believe that there was top secret information and it was a national security crisis. They are good at fear-mongering.
And there was top secret information that Donald Trump showed not only to reporters but also shared verbally to an Australian billionaire. So all that happened too.
The American public, but not anymore. I think the Americans see the truth. They see past the sensationalist headlines from Jeffrey Goldberg in The Atlantic, which is a dying magazine, and they should trust this president and his national security team, who again are getting things done, moving at Trump speed.
It's so tiring to just watch them lie time and time and time again, like obvious lies, which is why, again, the Republicans going to be upset, and they're going to say that we have TDS, and none of them will come up here and defend it, because you can't defend the actions of this president. You literally can't do it. You've just chosen to believe liars, and you've decided to cover your ears and your eyes. Absolutely dismantling here of both Tulsi Gabbard and Pete Hegseth by Jason Crow. I apologize for the video quality on this one and the audio. Obviously, this is something somebody recorded on their phone, but when the live started today, I didn't have like a good quality version of this video, so I apologize.
The DOD's classification standards, I want to now turn my attention to your classification standards. You're the Director of National Intelligence. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence classification guide says, quote, information providing indication or advance warning that the U.S. or its allies are preparing for an attack, end quote, is to be classified as top secret. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Director Gabbard, have the Houthis indicated an ability to shoot down American aircraft?
Yes.
They have in fact done so, haven't they?
Yes.
Including MQ-9 Reapers, haven't they?
That's correct.
And that was one of the systems used in the attack recently that's the subject of this discussion, is it not?
Correct.
General Cruz, are you familiar with this system?
Well, I'm not wearing my glasses at the moment, but...
Well, I'll help you out. This is an SA-3 anti-aircraft system.
Correct.
Are you familiar with this next system?
I am.
What is it?
I'm going to have to ask you.
It's an SA-6.
I'm going to guess that...
This is also an advanced anti-aircraft system, is it not?
It is. It was used widely in the Balkans in the 90s, correct?
And the Houthis also have this system, don't they?
They certainly do.
And they've employed it against our aircraft, have they not?
They have attempted to, correct.
I spent my life in service to this country. I deployed 3 times to combat in service to this nation. I learned in that time in service that responsibility is core to leadership. You accept responsibility when things go wrong. You admit mistakes. You set the standard from the very top.
But that is not what Trump does. And I think that's the part, like with Republicans, I would be so fucking embarrassed if I was you. I'm so glad I'm not a Republican anymore. And I can tell you that this is what drove me away from the Republican Party. It's the pussification of every last one of you and your inability to admit fault for anything. People fuck up. You fuck up, I fuck up, everybody here fucks up. Everybody makes mistakes. How is it that Donald Trump has been in the public eye running for the office for 12 years, and he has not admitted a single solitary mistake? And none of you can do it either. And that's the part of this, like, that again, when I left the Republican Party, it was also when I was leaving the cult, and I watched the same exact way of messaging taking place with Donald Trump. He will do something in front of your face, and then tomorrow he will lie about it happening, and you'll go along with it. He's done it time and time again. He continues to do it. And that's what happened. He pussified your entire fucking party so that every last one of you walk around like like cowards every single day. You can't even admit shit to yourself. You wake up, if you're going to wake up and defend this administration every day, you have to wake up, look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm going to lie to you today, and you're going to believe it. And you're like, yes, sir. You cannot support this administration and be honest. Nobody can do it. They lie about fucking everything. And that's the real problem that we have here. I don't think this is the end of the world. I don't even know if this rises to the level that Pete Hegseth should lose his job. But can somebody fucking be honest? Can somebody in this administration just say, we fucked up? Yeah, Pete Hegseth, this is your one warning. You don't get to do this shit again. That's all it would take. Nobody would be talking about this shit today if any of you had any fucking courage. And if Donald Trump wasn't such an overwhelming pussy that the mere thought of him admitting that somebody that he put into office fucked up is too much for him to bear. So he wakes up, he hasn't taken his medicine yet, doesn't put in his teeth, and he's like, oh, no, nothing was wrong. Just fucking be honest. Just admit when you do something wrong. Why are the MAGA folks so complicit when an obvious lie is being told? Why do you just swallow it? Why do you swallow it and get mad at everybody else? This is a 99-1 issue. Every fucking person who watches this story, who isn't neck deep in Donald Trump's asshole, says, yeah, they fucked up. Everyone, Republicans, Democrats, independents, people in the military, everybody agrees that he fucked up. Everybody knows they fucked up here. And the only reason that you guys are not saying that they fucked up is because Donald Trump won't admit that they fucked up. And the people that Donald Trump puts in office aren't allowed to admit that they fucked up. So now we live in a world where you guys are comfortable with the truth not being objective. The truth is whatever that guy says. Just whatever he tells me is the truth. And I'm running with it every fucking day. The reason we're divided is because we can't even get to political discussions. We can't even debate whether or not the actions taken by this administration are good or bad, because you won't even admit they fucking did it. You guys won't even admit that these things that absolutely happened, that we have text messages of, you won't even admit that it happened. That's the collapse of America. All because you don't want to admit that this orange asshole hired some people who probably weren't qualified and didn't take care of classified information in the way that they were supposed to. And instead you show up today and spend 3.5 hours playing, well, what about Hillary? What about Biden? That's all you do. Do you like living that life? I have shown Democrats, Republicans, independents, I have taken my sweet ass time to make sure that we have a balanced view here today, that it's everybody from every party. I showed James Comer doing the questioning because you guys bitched about it yesterday. How come you never show Republicans doing questioning? Okay, here's the Republican questioning in full. Here's Dave Portnoy. Here's Steve Bannon. Here's Jack Posobiec. Here's a lieutenant general in the military. Here's literally everybody saying this was classified, and Trump's like, and you're like, yeah, he said, This is a 99-1 issue. I'm sorry, like, this is TDS. This is cult behavior. And the cult is tightening. We've predicted this before, but that's what's happening. You lost Dave Portnoy. You guys lost Dave Portnoy today. And now Dave Portnoy knows, and this is the second time so far in this administration that Dave Portnoy has had to come out and go, why are they lying? People who aren't in the cult, people who don't want to close their eyes and say everything that he does is perfect, every lie makes it worse. Every single one. And so I hope that you guys double down. I hope you double down on it every single day, but you're bleeding. You are absolutely bleeding support. And you're not going to have enough support to keep this administration going. And then you guys are going to support fascism. Then you're going to support Donald Trump declaring war or declaring martial law so that he stays in power. Because you don't see anything but the colon of an 80-year-old man. You might see like bits of fish fillets every once in a while, but you don't see anything remotely close to reality. And it's a sad existence that you live in. I've lived in that existence where I was inside a cult, and when the real world was happening, even though I could see it, I turned away and pretended that I couldn't. And that's who you are. And the rest of the world is seeing this for what it is, blatant incompetence. And now the blatant incompetence is so obvious that the lies seem a lot worse. And I can tell you right now that the conversations I continue to have with Republicans, the ones who can admit this, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to convince them that they were lying about Russia, that they were lying about COVID-19, that they were lying about the election being stolen. You know how much easier this makes my job in talking to Republicans? Go ahead, double down on it. You're going to look like fucking idiots. You're going to look like idiots. This makes my job easier. But why? But the real question is, like, why do you want to be that person? Why do you want to wake up every day and be the person who's just like, I'm going to repeat the lies?
It is completely outrageous to me that administration officials come before us today with impunity, no acceptance of responsibility, excuse after excuse after excuse, but we send our men and women downrange to do incredibly difficult, incredibly dangerous things on our behalf. And yet, nobody is willing to come to us and say this was wrong. This was a breach of security and we won't do it again. It is outrageous.
Because they are bitch made. That's why. cowards. Every one of, and I'll say everyone in the chat still defending it, you are fucking cowards. And I hope that your children don't see this. I hope that your friends don't see this. I hope your family doesn't see this, because you are so obsessed with one human being, one guy, Trump, who wasn't even involved in this, by the way. He's not even taking the heat for this. The only reason you're defending it is because he said it was no big deal. You're all cowards. Every last one of you. And that's why I love this. Every fucking one of these people on stage is a coward. There is nothing. There is nothing about a person who says, I pledge my loyalty to the MAGA movement, to Donald Trump. I pledge my loyalty to America first. There is nothing brave about that. And that's why you have so many deeply flawed, shitty people. Pete Hegseth, nobody trusted Pete Hegseth. Nobody wanted to work with Pete Hegseth. He couldn't even run charities anymore. He literally was just like, even on Fox News was kind of like, I don't know, Pete Hegseth. We're not going to give you your own show. Nobody wanted to work with Pete Hegseth. Trump saw that as an opportunity. Oh, I'm going to give this guy an opportunity, and he's going to be deathly loyal to me. And that's what he got. And nobody wanted anything to do with Tulsi Gabbard. And so he's like, I'm going to bring in Tulsi Gabbard. And nobody wanted anything to do with RFK. So he brought in RFK. Nobody wanted anything to do with Matt Gaetz. And he brought in Matt Gaetz. You see how this works? Everybody that nobody trusts and believes, everybody who has completely blown their reputation, that's who Donald Trump brings into the fold, because he knows they're on their last legs. This is their last chance. And they know if they fuck this one up, there's nobody else out there for them. There's nobody else out there that's going to accept them. What happens at the end of a Trump presidency for Tulsi Gabbard? She's cooked. She's done. She can go to Fox News. That's it. It's her only escape. There's no other place for her. There's no other place for Pete Hegseth. So Donald Trump completely owns these people, and there is nothing brave about what they're doing. And there's nothing brave about you or patriotic about you to come in here and say, yeah, let's weaken America as long as we don't say bad things about Trump. You don't give a fuck about our country. You don't give a fuck about freedom of speech, freedom of information. You don't give a fuck about fascism, about oligarchy. You are people who are upset that 99% of the country today is saying, don't lie to us. And you're like, just let him lie. Let him lie, guys. Talk about Biden. Just let him lie to you. It's what we do. Just let him lie. Wake up every morning, accept that they're going to lie to you, and move on. You guys, you're mad at us. The whole country disagrees with you. And you're like, God, why are you so mad that they're lying to you?
And it is a leadership failure, and that's why Secretary Hegseth, who undoubtedly transmitted classified, sensitive operational information via this chain, must resign immediately. There can be no fixes. There can be no corrections until there is accountability, and I'm calling on the administration to move forward with accountability.
If this happened on our side of the aisle, they would lose their job. You feel free to argue that all you want. If this happened on our side of the aisle, they would lose their job. Nobody ever hired Hillary Clinton for any job ever again. Nobody brought Hillary Clinton back into an administration. Nobody even offered her a position. It ended her. And Republicans used to give a shit about this. You guys there was this hero that you guys all loved named David Petraeus. Do you remember David Petraeus? No, because you guys have run him out now. But why did David Petraeus get run out of your party? For this. David Petraeus shared classified information with his girlfriend, and you ran him out of your party. And the Democrats stood by there. We had bipartisan support. You've all turned into cowards. That's the party. For homeboy David, I appreciate you being here for 3.5 hours. Your viewership means a lot to me. When you say Donald Trump lives rent-free in my head, bitch, he's the fucking president. And I comment on politics. It's not rent-free, it's my job. But the fact that people don't care about Donald Trump is a much bigger problem. He should be rent-free in everyone's head. He's the goddamn president. And if that's your best response, yeah, guys, when he commits crimes, when he overlooks the fact that his entire administration is competent, that's rent-free. I don't know about that. Yeah, sure, he lives rent-free in my head. That's fine. It's my job. It's what I'm supposed to do. Last one, then we'll get out of here. This was Representative Chris Deluzio, former service member. just pointing out the most obvious, the most obvious point possible, and this is what I want to end on.
Being on the ground in Iraq, what we saw from this administration was reckless. It was a dangerous breach of our national security. It was probably criminal conduct. There has to be consequences. This included the Vice President of the United States, the Director of the CIA, the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the Secretary of State. I could go on and on. These are some of the most powerful people in America. And if any of us had done this as junior enlisted or junior officers, what do you think would have happened? You'd be court-martialed. You'd likely end up in Fort Leavenworth or something like it. And to these people, to think that they may not face consequences is outrageous. It cannot happen. Now, we know Secretary Hegseth's own Pentagon warned just last week that there were hacking vulnerabilities to Signal, the very platform they were communicating on. Communicating about, you heard it here, sensitive, classified material.
How do you square that? How do you square that with our intelligence agencies saying, "Hey, a week prior, like where they're hacking Signal, and then they're out there using Signal"? How do you defend that? They know that this stuff can be out there, that it can be hacked, and then they do it anyways. How do you defend that?
There is no defense for this. And so what we are all saying here is something obvious. There has to be accountability. There needs to be a full investigation. And again, there are likely violations of the Espionage Act. There are likely violations of record-keeping requirements. They were communicating in a platform that purposefully deletes their communications. That is a violation of federal law. They are obscuring and hiding records from the American people. They were putting at risk the service members who were carrying out these strikes. Now, I said heads should roll. There have to be people who lose their jobs over this. There has to be a full investigation. I serve on the Armed Services Committee and join in the calls that there is a full public accounting for what happened here. And when we uncover exactly who committed wrongdoing, if those folks don't resign, we should remove them from office. There can be no defense for this. They put our national security at risk. It is our duty in Congress to make sure that oversight happens. And I know these members and I will do everything we can to make sure it happens.
And Republicans will do everything they can to make sure that we don't talk about any of this, and instead we hold hearings about walk-in freezers and PBS and NPR, because the Republicans don't give a flying fuck about this country. They care only about licking Donald Trump's asshole. Let me read a couple comments, then we'll get out of here. Noel said, big thanks to you, Jen, and the rest of the team. Love you guys. Thank you, Noel. Portia said, for the hard work you do to educate and inform. Thank you. Jackie says, hey, homie, and I say, hey, homie, back. Maria says, for always doing a great job. Thank you, Maria. I think I read that one, the fuck Elon, save Elmo. I really enjoyed that. Jen, did I miss any on your end? Oh, there we go. John said, for the gift goal, WRTP Talks. And I think that was all of them. All right, everybody, we'll be back tomorrow morning, every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, wherever you're watching right now. So that could be Twitch, that could be YouTube, it could be Twitter, it could be Facebook, wherever you are. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Can't wait for it. I don't know tomorrow's Thursday. Okay, one more day till, and I promise this week I'm not going to cancel Friendly Friday. Tomorrow, just to let you know, I do need to leave like 15 to 20 minutes early tomorrow. I've got a doctor's appointment I got to get to, and could not find a different time. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you all for the donations. Make sure you're subscribed on Twitch and on YouTube. That way, when we go live like we did last night, you'll get a notification. You don't have to miss out. As Jen has mentioned many times, we have merch in our link tree. Our link tree, I just got a notification that I forgot to change my card number. I gotta update the card number for Linktree. So if it's not working, it'll be working tomorrow. I've got to update that. But thank you guys for the support. Love you all. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.